Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV Podcast 577. Post Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship and United States Disc Golf Championship. We're here.
Yeah,
made it past.
It was a fun weekend. It was good disc golf to watch.
Yes, lots of action out there. Of course, 4 rounds taking place on both the. I keep wanting just to say the MPO and FPO side, but ultimately, yes, the Throw Pink Championship taking place, and then, of course, in the afternoons, the United States Disc Golf Championship. I know there's always a lot of arguments and discussions as to majors and naming and everything else. Like, just from a simplicity standpoint, I like the idea of something getting combined just so it's not such a mouthful. But we love to give full recognition to what the Throw Pink Championship is all about. Its history, what Sarah Nicholson and the entire crew do there. So there's, certainly no diminishing whatsoever. But if you ever catch us saying MPO or FPO, just simply assume we're referring to the two separate events in their entirety.
There is a lot of discussion about this particular weekend and whether or not USDGC should be combined with Throw Pink and whether or not it should be the women's championships or, USDGC was founded on, one division, one champion, but that's kind of gone by the wayside with Throw Pink, I feel. So there's a lot of discussion out there that we can get into maybe later because we got ourselves a guest tonight.
We do. We're going to have 2 guests. One, I don't even, I'll go straight with them instead of trying to set them up in any other silly way. One of them is going to tell us all about changes and activities and updates at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship coming up in a few days. And
what's Nate Heinold going to do then?
Exactly. Nate Heinold will join us after that. Nate Heinold will join us to give us some of those insights. I know. And someone who's going to be looking to collect maybe a check from that event, who did so this weekend, our champion from Throw Pink, Missy Gannon. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
We as we like to say, I feel like we're never as good as you are.
Well, that's because every time she comes on the show, she's probably just cashed a big check.
Yeah, I mean,
that's great. That's the way to do it. That's how nice way to go through life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, first and foremost, battling through the conditions and the experience to become our first ever 2-time Throw Pink champion. What's changed about winning big events for you? Compared to when you won your first big event a few years ago, what's changed from then versus, 48 hours ago?
I feel like, it's actually kind of crazy to I think back, and even when Sarah Nicholson presented me with my my trophy this year, she said, you were the first Throw Pink women's champion, and that's I think I forget that because we had the major there the year before it became Throw Pink because of COVID and U.S. Women's had been canceled, and so it kind of I forget that it all started that year in 2021, and I don't know the difference. I think the biggest thing for me from just overall is that the winning in this field is so hard nowadays. We have so many incredible competitors who could win any weekend, and it just feels that much more rewarding to take home a big win like Throw Pink, and really any of the wins this year. It's such a big accomplishment, and like I said, the field is so deep now that it feels like it's that much more of a battle, a big mountain to climb to get a title now. So yeah, it just feels really special. I mean, they all feel special, but it just feels like every year it gets harder and harder, so it makes those wins feel that much more important and special.
It really feels like your competitors are getting younger and younger too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not. I'm not going to go out here and say that you are over the hill by any means, but those competitors, we saw a huge influx this year of women under the age of 18 playing. It was amazing, and we got to see some of them on camera. And you're regularly competing against Silva, who is 19 or 20.
Yeah, in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
Sure.
right around there.
Mhm.
Just what's it like from your perspective to be able to look at these young girls that are now playing these great events?
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. I love it. I love to see it, and especially I got into the sport at 26 or 25, whatever it was. But so I came in quite a bit later than most of the people that I'm now currently competing with at the top level, and yeah, it, in a way. I still feel really young and whatever. I think it's because I've only been a pro for 8 years or whatever. But so it just feels like it in a way it feels like it was just yesterday that I joined the tour. But also I know that it's been 8 years. But I even just was listening to a podcast or something. Where Eagle and Simon were on it, and they're talking about like playing in 2012 and 2014, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know what disc golf was then, so it's like still incredible to hear about these players who are roughly around my age, but they have been playing for so much longer than I have that yeah, it just feels like I'm still so young in my career, even though I'm quite a bit older than Silva and a few of the others that I've been competing against. So, but I mean, it's so encouraging and so cool, and I actually see that. I feel like the biggest separator for me is my experience and is my wisdom, and I feel like that's really what kind of gives me a little bit of an edge when it comes to winning these bigger events. Is just having that it's weird to say, but a few times in that final round, I said to myself, like, I don't care if I win. And I know that that's crazy, but it took pressure off of me, of myself. And obviously in the grand scheme, I do want to win every event that I go compete in, but at the same time, I feel like I'm giving myself that like grace of like, I'm not as young as these other people, but that maybe doesn't mean anything, but also, whatever. Like, I'm so proud of what I've done so far in my career this year that it doesn't really matter. And I think that was kind of also a big thing for me to kind of stay a little bit centered and grounded during a final round that was pretty chaotic and tight and uncertain. I don't think anybody knew who was going to win. Not until the last couple holes. So yeah, it's just interesting to even see that. I don't know, the way that I've been able to kind of like carry myself in these big moments. But either way, it's just, yeah, I think that just speaks to my age and my experience and all of that, like I said.
Yeah, it's going to be really funny when they're coming up to you and be like, I grew up watching you play. So,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. So,
On Sunday, I caught up. I was just getting out to the course, and I ran into Ann Deputy, who is our FA1 world champion, AM world champion, and throws super far. And her dad is Zach Deputy, who is a famous musician, and the love they have, both of them have, for disc golf is incredible. And one thing that really just stuck out at me, Ann had said, I learned so much this year. Last year she tried to qualify to get in on Monday. She didn't make it. And then this year it gets into the event, earns her way in. And she's like, the wind, the OB, just everything. And she said, I'm taking away all of the things as like a learning experience of being here at this course. And it was so mentally taxing. What, with that in mind, maybe, what do you feel like some of the lessons you've learned in the 4 or 5 years you've competed on this course. What's that insight that you have that Anne's still searching for?
Yeah, well, I think that in general, I think that something that I try to that I feel like I pride myself on is like never giving up. And on a course like Winthrop, you don't know when you're going to shoot. I feel like you're always going to shoot at least one bad round out there. It feels like it's inevitable, just because you just don't know what the conditions are going to bring. If you're just a little bit off, the wind can just kind of take your disc right into the water or into the OB, and you just have to know that, yeah, it could be a completely different story one day to the next. And I think that even for me, I shot a good first round, and then second round I was 4 over par, and it still kept me, near the top, but certainly it looked like I was going to have to do a lot of work to get back into it. And round three I shot, one of the best rounds of my life, and had one of the longest birdie streaks I've ever had in my career. And yeah, and I think that just speaks to what that course can do. You just everybody at this point, most of the field has every shot that's required out there. But again, it's a matter of the OB and the wind, and keeping focus, and kind of knowing that these stroke swings can happen very quickly, and just knowing that, yeah, you don't know what the future holds, and you can't think about what happened in the past. You just have to learn from it. And I didn't change any of the discs that I threw from round two to round three. I threw the exact same discs off the tee, and there is literally a 14-stroke difference between those 2 rounds. So, and the conditions were relatively the same too. So, yeah, you just have to never give up, and again, just understand that's what that course can do. And yeah, you just have to hope that you can get your one bad round out of the way, and then hopefully the rest will all fall into place. But I mean, I think it's a really great thing I learn something new every single round that I play. I learn, and I think that's when I do my best. You can only learn so much in practice, and then you get to the tournament, and maybe you find yourself in a weird spot that you never thought you would end up in, and maybe that helps you learn, like, hey, okay, maybe I should throw something more understable so that my error is on the right. That's like a specific thing, but being able to make those being able to adapt and change your game plan, and learn something new from every round, I think is a really important lesson to learn. And so, yeah, I think it's really encouraging that she said that specifically. She learned so much, whether it's certain shots or even just how to handle pressure or handle whatever. I think that's really important, and a really good step for a young player like that.
When you're talking about learning and, experience that comes into play, do you or Tom log anything, or is this being all logged mostly mental? So when you come back next year in 2026 and you're playing that course and it's round two, and you're like, yeah, you know what, last year, blah, 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 I really, did this or did that. Is there something that gets logged anywhere physically, or is it just between the two of you? And if it is mental, who's doing the remembering?
It's usually mental. I don't really have like a notepad or any sort of like caddy book notes or anything. I think that if it's like going back after the following year, I will sometimes refer back to coverage if I was fortunate enough to be on coverage and see what I did. But I'm a visual learner anyway, so I remember far too many things. It probably will bite me later in life, but yeah, I tend to just try to remember what I did. And honestly, like, for me, I feel like my game evolves every year, so things could change. even if it feels like they haven't, I think that, even this year I've been relying on a lot of like slower speed discs that I wouldn't have thrown last year. And so you really have to, again, be able to adapt and like know that you've been, changing things up, or I'm constantly trying to work on things that I feel like are lacking in my game. And so I have to make sure that I'm not too reliant on what the past was, and just try to, again, just feel out the moment and feel out, what I'm currently doing well, and try to lean on those skills. So, but yeah, it's mostly mental, and yeah, again, just being able to try new things too, because maybe something that didn't work out last year could work out this year. So yeah, just being able to be adaptable, and yeah, lean on what your strengths are.
And we didn't see you use it a lot, but the forehand on 17. Did you throw forehand anywhere else on that course? I'm trying to think back through your round, and I don't recall offhand.
Yeah, little shots. I think mostly on hole 15, the approach into that green.
Okay.
It's that one through the other triple Mando. Yeah.
Yep.
That's probably the only place I really threw any sort of forehand. Also, B layout for hole 13. It was like tucked behind the big pine tree on the right. So it's like we're throwing from up that on top of that berm. Yeah, so that was the only other time that I believe I threw forehands on that course. And yeah, I tried every shot on 17, and I know that it's a forehand, and it's not comfortable for a lot of people, but especially for somebody who's been working on their forehand. I was able to get the birdie once, which is huge, because a lot of us are just trying to, get on the island and pitch over and get a par and move on. So yeah, my average wasn't great on that hole, but to be able to say that I got the birdie playing with the forehand is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm glad that it didn't necessarily come down to hole 17 and 18 at the end there. It could have, but again, things just sort of worked out in my favor, and yeah, it didn't end up biting me too bad. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe expand on that just a little about the. I was trying to explain it to a friend who was at USDGC for his first time this year, and I'm trying to set the stage for that walk, the walk from 16 to 17. And then what position you're in, how many strokes do you have, what it means to hit the island, what your strategy is. Maybe just walk us through that on the final round, and where you were in terms of comfort level, and that long walk from 16 to 17, which feels like it's a piece of history for literally every player.
Yeah, the walk is fine. It's maybe a little slower. Like I walk a little more slowly than I normally do, probably. Just, I mean, everyone's walking that way, even including the spectators, and so you're kind of all just marching up that hill. And I think specifically, like typically, yeah, the heartbeats getting a little faster, and the anticipation of hole 17, it's still there. I think even if it was a stock shot for me, I think I would still be pretty nervous. And I think specifically for this final round, I was kind of gifted a few strokes that I did not anticipate. I think that the way hole 16 played out was shocking to me, and I was feeling maybe a little less nervous. I still threw a terrible shot on 17, but I think that was maybe more so the adrenaline, like knowing that I think I did it, even though we weren't even through 17 yet. And obviously, again, if my closest competitor didn't also throw not a great shot on 17, I think that it could have been a bit different going into 18. But even when I threw the bad shot on 17, I knew I had a few strokes to play with, even if she did make it on the island, it still would have, maybe been okay. I've been playing hole 18 really, really well, and so I wasn't really nervous about hole 18 at all. So yeah, I think normally I would be very, very nervous, but yeah, I again was fortunate enough to have a few strokes going into that hole. So yeah, it's a nervy hole. I don't know, it's I was able to throw backhand and forehand successfully in practice, but yeah, when it comes tournament time, you can't really know what to expect and try to calm yourself down, but it just feels like such a high pressure shot, even though, it's really not that difficult, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just throwing the Stockheiser forehand. So yeah, it's just again part of history, and I think yeah, hopefully it seems like more people came out of it more unscathed, especially in MPO, which is it's a little bit more um, damaging if you don't make it on the island for them. I didn't really look at the entire field, but as far as the cards that I was watching on coverage, it seemed like most people were able to handle it better than in the past, I think. So that's good. I think people are kind of learning it a little bit more and kind of getting over those nerves. But I think it's just also a testament to the fields getting better, and yeah, it's not quite as nerve-wracking as it used to be.
Yeah, I think specifically for MPO, more of our players are throwing better forehands these days, and they can easily much easier dump out right with a little snap forehand. Yeah. And I think our FPO field is still catching up in some of those the forehand skills. We see a lot of our top players. You obviously have been developing one over the last 2 to 3 years, and you're feeling more comfortable with it. But someone like Silva just can't, just hasn't gotten there yet. Anale, who got it. I think she got it 2 rounds this week. She pitched up a forehand a couple times and got the par on the final day. So I think you're right. In the next probably 2 to 3 years, we're going to see the FPO field. It'll be an easier shot for them coming in than we see for the MPO.
I just worry the more we all talk about that and say everyone's getting better and figuring it out, that's when they're going to make it tougher.
They're going to constrict it.
We got to be quiet about how loudly we talk about that.
Suddenly the tee boxes move back 15 feet.
Exactly,
Who knew?
exactly. And then there's some mozzarella sticks or other things that all of a sudden appear.
Yep.
When maybe you can't predict this, but fast forwarding just short of a year from now, when you're making the drive back to Winthrop, what do you feel like memory will pop up? What shot? I guess this is trying to be a clever way to say like kind of what was your favorite either shot or hole of the weekend, but what kind of jumps out when you just reflect a little bit on this weekend as like some of those moments in any of the rounds for you? What jumps out for you?
I don't know. I feel like there were a couple times where it might have even been like a circle 2 putt or something, like I feel like those are the types of shots and moments that really make a difference in the final, especially in the final round, is that, if again, we can all, every hole is birdieable out there. There's none that I'm like, oh, I'm playing this for par. But I think a big separator is being able to make those big putts in those high pressure moments. And so, I don't know, there was this one putt, I think it was actually round 2 where I shot my worst round, but it was on hole 11. And it was, back edge of circle 2 and a headwind. I was up kind of on that top side. And I wish I could say I was confidently running that putt, but it was kind of a layup gone good, I guess. That I was like, okay, just putt on Annie. It's gonna hit the top of the side hill and just sort of like skibble down to the basket, and I just didn't do that, and it just floated in the wind and hyzered right into the bottom left portion of the basket. And again, it looked like I was just like super confident. I was running that all day, but I really wasn't. So, I don't know if that was just my body took over or it was just it was just like an ace kind of moment where you didn't mean to throw it in, but it went in. So yeah, like things like that. I don't know if it's any specific memory. It's more just and just the kind of big pressure shots that I was able to to successfully make this weekend. You know, and I don't know. It's just like even hole 14, that little shot down to the big elevated pin. That one always seems to be like a weird, tricky shot, and I was able to, I think, birdie it 2 out of the 4 rounds, and specifically the last 2 rounds. When it kind of mattered coming down the stretch. It's like those shots that maybe had given me trouble in the past that I was able to sort of figure out. And yeah, I think overall it's just such a cool place to be able to come and play. And I think in general, knowing that I can come back to throw pink for the rest of my life because I've won there. Is cool. I like that that's a thing for the MPO field as well. And being able to see legends like Barry Schultz up teeing off on hole 1, and yeah, I just think that's such a cool thing, and it's just awesome that I'm able to also do that, and I'll try to make every single one I can. That's for sure.
Yeah, and rightfully so, which is great to see, and I love the embracing of champions and recognizing that for in perpetuity, I guess. Well, this as we've come from basically, I'm gonna call it Pro Worlds, where you finished 8th, top 10 finish, obviously still solid. Probably not
great way to fight back.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily as good of a finish as you were hoping for, and we know we can attribute one specific hole. But aside from that, though, you Ledgestone, which you've won in the past, you take 5th in which usually our deepest field, or and then 2nd at Idlewild, 1st at the D-Glow, which is an Elite Plus event, 2nd at Green Mountain with an incredible playoff, 1st at MVP, 1st at Throw Pink. So clearly trending and firing in all cylinders, end of the year, ramping up, big money, all of the accolades, everything. What is it about this time, either of year or courses? What is setting this stage for you to be playing just so damn good right now?
Honestly, I don't know. I like, it just feels like, I think one thing is like when I get to the Northeast, it sort of feels like I'm coming back home in a way. And I get a lot of like Northeast love from the people up there. A lot of people are like, "Hey, I'm from New York. Oh, hey, oh, hey, I heard you like Wilcox Park, and like just those little things, those little conversations, and I feel like it just gives me like a burst of energy coming back to the Northeast, because it feels just like territory that I grew up in, and I don't know, it like reinvigorates me coming down the final couple events of the year. But also I think the off season's weird because I like having off time, but the first month or so it feels like I don't know what to do with myself because we're go for so long that you get back and you're able to like settle down, and it sort of feels like I don't really feel like I can just settle down because I'm in such a rhythm. Where I feel like most people are like, oh, I just want to rest. I just want to be home. I don't want to have to go practice. And I don't necessarily want to just like go play disc golf more disc golf. I definitely don't like go straight back out to the course as soon as we get back. I don't know. It feels like when it comes down to the last few events of the year, it's almost feels more like crunch time. Like, okay, let's make the most of it. We only have a few events left. Like it's gonna just go away soon. So why don't we just put it all out there and see what happens. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is. It just feels like I'm more excited for the final events of the year, but I think it's because I know I'm, so close to being able to go and rest that I'm not excited to go rest really, but I'm looking forward to it. But it's like, well, great, I'll have that time when it comes. So let's just let it all out. Let it like just leave it all out there. I suppose is maybe how I feel. And it's the kind of disc golf that I love. Like I know we're out here in Virginia and we have New London, which is again a course that I it's has a new layout and it actually kind of gives me like an elongated Nevin vibe, which is good for me, hopefully. But the redesign, I actually like it better than the original design. I think there's a lot more elevation, which I love, and it felt really nice to be out there today. And then we have, New London, or I'm sorry, Ivy Hill, and that's a completely different course. It's a traditional golf course, and it's a decent design. I like it enough, but I think in general the last few events are just kind of disc golf that I like to play, and it just gives me a bit of a boost of energy, I think, and that's really it. It has nothing to do with the money. It has nothing to do with, anything as far as payouts go, but it just feels like I'm trying to just leave it all out there and, get to rest when I get to rest,
Yeah, it must be. I mean, we hear about so many other players that towards the end of the year, they're feeling burnout. And like that, it's such an advantage to have your mindset that you're not, crawling your way to the finish like, oh, I just got to get through these two events. And you're really looking forward to it. I think that maybe gives you a leg up on a third of the competition, just offhand, thinking about all these people who talk about how, they're happy. They're happy that the end of the year is coming. They're happy they don't have to golf as much. So yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because you pretty much answered what was going to be my next question and already segued into the question after that, which is perfect. I was just looking. I mean, you're at 79,000.
He doesn't think that far ahead.
I believe it or not, I was. This weekend in particular, third place, I'll just throw out a third place, is 10,000. That gets you to 89,000 for the year. 15 would get you to 94,000 and change. And 30,000 for first would get you to 109,000, and then there's still some money to be won in match play. I guess the real generic question there is, do money records? I can't imagine 102,000 versus 109,000 is changing your life, so to speak, at this point. It's all great, but do any of the cash records or amount won from that perspective? Does any of that? I don't know, matter to you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think I think about Gannon Burr because he has all these little goals and things in mind, and we couldn't be more different.
Yes.
I am completely just whatever happens. It's a cool thing, when people even say how do you keep winning these big events and your name's big money and whatever. I'm like, I don't know. It's literally a coincidence, and I can't tell you any other. I have no idea why, but I just don't. I don't operate that way, I have some goals here and there, but it's mostly bigger picture goals. Making sure that I'm, taking care of my body so I can play for as long as I can, and not having to throw a shot, even down to not having to throw a shot absolutely perfectly in practice, because I know what my discs do, and I know that I just didn't throw it well today, and I know that's the right disc for this shot, things like that. I just don't overanalyze anything. So I just try to make the best decisions that I can and play as best as I can, and all the rest just sort of happens as a result of my preparation and whatever. So yeah, I don't care about records. I think that if it's meant to happen, it'll happen, and I just have to try my best to make it happen, I suppose. So
And
yeah.
and maybe you know this, maybe you don't. Did I hear correctly that you passed Kristen Tatar for all-time money leader in FPO?
I think so. In
Yeah.
elite series and majors, maybe
Yeah.
specifically.
So maybe it's
Mhm.
specifically
Mhm.
that amount right there. Yeah.
But
And
it
then
could be career earnings too. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not 100% sure. I saw it in passing from
Yeah.
somebody, so I didn't know if you had heard
Hmm.
anything specific. But
Definitely a
Yeah.
goal
People
of
keep
hers.
telling
She
me
was
all.
just-
Yeah. Keep telling
Right.
me all of these stats, which is cool. But every
Yeah.
once in a while, I'll check Stout Mando to just sort of see, because I was speaking to somebody and they were like, "Yeah, your stats are actually really cool to look at," and so it made me curious. And then I'll check it once in a while just to see what they're talking about. But yeah, it's cool. I love that it like is a thing, and I think other people are really excited about those kind of stats. And um, yeah, I'm just fortunate that it's working out that way. And yeah, but I'm proud of it. I just don't really think about it all that often.
Yeah, and I just did a super quick Google search to see, or well, I guess PDGA. It looks like you're at roughly 423,000 career, and Kristen, who you would have just surpassed, was at 411,000.
Okay.
So for
Nailed it.
what? Yeah, sure. For whatever that's worth to you, like you said, not something that you're concerned about being on your radar.
Well, it's. I was thinking it's really funny because like you and Kristen kind of came up about the same time, like that.
Mhm.
That I think says a lot with as dominant as she was. But you look at someone like Paige Pierce, who's been playing since pro since like 2010, and you've passed her. But look at all the victories she's gotten. It shows, as we say so many times, the progression in the FPO field. Like just the extra money that we're seeing now versus what we did 10, 12, 13 years ago. And it's really nice to see that, a lot of our top women can tour and make a living out there without having to, maybe necessarily have a summer job or a winter job, depending on what season, where you are in the country or the world.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you just won
Yeah.
more money than some top women won in an entire year. I mean, you won in one weekend. And that again speaks to where our
Speaks
sport is
volumes.
at in terms
Yeah.
of that growth. I mean, 15K for a year at one point clearly was, like a record-setting year. For FPO, and at one point, obviously not that long ago for MPO. It's
Yeah.
crazy how we've
Well,
grown.
yeah, totally. And I always try to like give credit to the Pro Tour and the PGA and all of the people. Everyone's like, oh, whenever they say something about my earnings or like those records or whatever, it's like so many other people have a hand in that. Even being able to even take home a check like that has nothing to do with me. Really, it's just that I'm fortunate enough to be put in that position, but it's because of the Pro Tour, it's because of the PDGA, it's because of all of the partnerships that they've forged over the years, to even have that money available, and something like that even, yeah, contributing to those earnings records and stuff like that. It has so much more to do with other people and the work that other people are doing. And yeah, I'm so grateful for what everybody does, to be able to have payouts grow every single year, and to make it more of a viable option as a career, even for those people that might only take home $15,000 for the entire year. Again, I probably had a season where I only took home $4,000. So it's just growing, and it's so cool to see, and I'm again so grateful for all of the people that have contributed to the sport and making it an option for more and more people to come out on the road full time.
So I was gonna say, so other ways that you can make money are your tour series discs. Are we going to see a special disc for Throw Pink? I don't know. I'm sure every manufacturer probably treats it a little differently. It's technically an XA tier, but it plays right alongside our majors. So I don't know how Discraft necessarily handles it. Are we going to see a Throw Pink disc for you, Missy? Or are they going to just wait another week and see if they can just,
double you up
with like Throw Pink on one side and maybe Tour Champion on the other? Like, they hedge in their bets.
It's so funny because I don't even know where. I was just talking to actually Bob Giulio about this, like where these like commemorative discs, like when this became like a thing to have a commemorative disc for like every single event that somebody wins. And I think it's really cool, especially if it's like your first win or whatever. But at some point it almost feels overwhelming to me because now I'm like, I don't know what mold do I choose? What's the stamp? What's the stamp look like? And then trying to get it out in like a timely manner is, it feels like a lot of pressure. Like Discraft has all of that, ability, and they're so willing to do all of that. And I'm again grateful for them for wanting to pump out this many commemorative discs. Sorry, not sorry, and they're obviously not upset about me winning events, but it feels like I almost don't know if I want to do a commemorative disc. It's completely up to me. But I feel like my Thrashers from Maple Hill just came out, so it just feels a little overwhelming to me to do another one right away. So I don't know what we'll do. I haven't decided yet what I want to do. So yeah, again, the willingness on Discraft's part is there to do another disc, but I just don't know if I want to do another disc, which is, again, I don't know, maybe weird, but I want to do something else, maybe like a T-shirt or like, I don't know, something different than what we've been doing. But they've been doing the Victory Edition or the Victory Series discs, which are those Z confetti discs, which are super cool. And I love the idea of like confetti being, a celebratory type plastic. So that's been really cool. But again, I don't know. I'll get TBD, but maybe.
A really cool hat.
Completely up to me. Yeah.
Like a women's cap with like, I always see you with your hair out the top, and they make these special ones now that have like magnets for for the ponytails and stuff, and just have a really cool
that would be a good
launch.
idea. I've had a lot of people ask me about those, and just in general, a lot of the things that I've been wearing, especially women. And so, maybe, hopefully we can do some sort of women's apparel or a hat or something. I think that could be really cool.
That'd be great.
So big money Missy problems that Johnny and I will never have, which is, I won too recently. I don't know what I want to do for my next win and how to celebrate.
That's also really weird for me to say too. Like, I don't want to be like,
no, and you're not. I mean,
like there are, I know,
you,
but
these are your good problems to have, and no one thinks that you're being greedy or nasty about it. That's for sure. You just kind of touched on something, and our next guest coming up here in a few minutes is going to be one of the guys that's helped hand out some big checks, I know, throughout the years, and it has done a lot of work. And I'm talking about Nate Heinold going back to Lynchburg, which is what you were just talking about. So any other thoughts? You said that you may even like the redesign of New London. One of the comments that was talked about during our pre-production meeting today on DGN was players giving some feedback saying this course is incredibly tough. At least some MPO players had said that. What's kind of your take on the FPO side of things for the New London redesign?
I mean, I like the FPO layout. I have no idea anything about the MPO layout, but I think the FPO layout there are plenty of par threes that are reachable by a lot of the field, but there are a lot of par fours that you'll have some that they're super tight. But if you get a clean shot off, it should be a relatively easy up and down for the birdie. And then there's a few that even for me are a little bit out of my range, but not out of the range for the top throwers in the field. So
Mhm.
as far as a wooded course goes, I feel like that's a really good balance to have where, not every hole should be birdieable by every single person. And you should have to play a little bit of golf and maybe giving some of those farther throwers a chance to have a couple of holes that might favor them, but they're still going to be hard. So like that's if you're throwing two really clean shots with distance. So I think that there's a good balance, and it's not just all favorable to just nice controlled throwers. I think that it kind of has something for everybody. And again, like I said, the elevation changes. You'll see a lot of elevation that we didn't get with the old New London design, which I really like, especially when it comes to like being in the woods, or there's a few open holes out there that there were last year as well, but then there's a couple of additional either tee shots that are more open, or maybe a couple of like more open approach shots. So I think this is a really good mix, and I think it's gonna be it. You're gonna have to scramble for sure, and I think that that's again tests all the different parts of the game. And I think when we're playing for this kind of money, I think you should have to be the most well-rounded player out there to come out on top. And I think with both of these courses and the way that they're set up, that it will test those players. And yeah, I think that it's very fair. And we'll see how it all shakes out.
So fair to say you were excited, and certainly maybe even that was doubled down. You were excited to see and hear New London, this new version of New London, being integrated into the Tour Championship, because I believe originally it was planned to just be 4 rounds Ivy Hill. And if I picked up a few clues from you earlier, you like the idea of playing at least the 2 rounds at New London and then playing Ivy Hill as well. But you like that New London was added.
Yeah. I also was surprised when, because I thought I had also, heard that it was only going to be Ivy Hill, and I wasn't excited about that. And they did make some changes out at Ivy Hill that I think are going to be really good. And Ivy Hill as a course is good, but I wasn't necessarily excited about it being 4 rounds for the Pro Tour Championship.
Sure.
At Ivy Hill. So I also never really thought that it should be 4 rounds just at Nevin either. I think again, my opinion still stands that I do feel like if we're playing with this for this kind of money, and this is the best of the best that are here, we should have to be tested on all levels. And so I think that having a more open course and a more wooded course is the way to do that. So yeah, I'm excited for this weekend.
Perfect. My last question, I think overall, would be the conversation regarding the strokes being awarded. The starting strokes is what we'll call them. All year long, you guys play, then based on your placement, of course, within the tour, that's how everyone's awarded these starting strokes. Of course, Holland's going to have the most. On the MPO side, Gannon has the most, and then it gets kind of tiered down from there. Do you like that? And if not, do you have any variation or suggestions?
Because I don't have any variations or suggestions, I'm going to say I do like it. But no, I do think in general, I do like it. I think that, I don't know much about PGA, but I think that is also something that they do. And it does reward, the players that were the most consistent over the course of the year. And I think I like that it starts at 8 under par. I think previously it had started at 10 under par. I know it sounds minimal, but I don't know. It feels better for some reason. I don't know. I can't really place why, but yeah, I think it is a good way to do it. I've been asked this question before, and I really just don't know what the right answer is, and I think we just have to try things and see how it all works. And but I think it worked generally pretty good last year, and I think that I think it's a good way to reward the players that have been playing, that had played well over the year. So And like I said, having four rounds, two different courses, I think that it doesn't necessarily favor anyone in particular. So there's always a chance that somebody who might start, 5 strokes back of Holland has plenty of opportunity to make up those strokes, given the kinds of courses that we're playing this weekend, especially at New London. I think the stroke swings could really happen fast out there. It just depends on how well you're throwing, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be compelling, and it'll be fun to watch.
Says the woman with the most amount of strokes. I'm kidding. No, I love it. It's going to continue to get debated. Like you said, we're in our 10th year of the Pro Tour Championship. And every year there's been a slight change and a slight tweak in some capacity to either slight or massive changes in how the Pro Tour Championship has been played throughout the year. So continuing to find what that special recipe or secret sauce is, I think is tough, because no matter what you do, someone is not going to care for it. Obviously, the whole adage, you can't please everyone, but great to hear.
I did like the feeling of like the sudden death of the earlier versions. There was also something that was really compelling, in my opinion, because it was like, you got to, give it your all. And then it also created that Cinderella story with Nathan Queen. And so I do like what came out of that version as well.
Sure.
Now that I'm remembering that, but again, I don't really know the right answer, but I think we just have to keep trying things, and I see why having everybody be able to play every round, why that makes a lot of sense. I mean, people are making the trips out here. Some people just got in because other people dropped out, so it makes sense now for somebody like that can actually, make the trip and make it worth it for them to play all 4 rounds. So, yeah,
Love it.
Hard to say.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations, of course, yet again on this weekend, and we wish you the best of luck. Last thing before you go is shout out, recognize, thank, or whatever, any sponsors, supporters, and ways that big fans can go out there and support you right now.
So thank you to my sponsors, Discraft, Grip Equipment, Whale Sacks, and Ledgestone. Hi, Nate, if you're in the back somewhere. Thank you guys for giving us platforms to come on and talk about, how things are going or how things went, and shout out to Tom. He's right here, but he's, obviously one of my biggest supporters, and wouldn't be able to do a lot of what I do without him. So, that's just been a great journey, and we're still going strong, and we're gonna keep trying to stack them up.
Cash those checks. Cash those checks.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't know. Just thank you guys, and thanks to all the fans. And just go to teamdiscraft.com, and you can go to my little website and pick up some shirts, some discs, some anything to support me. A lot, a little bit goes a long way. So I appreciate all the support.
Awesome. Well, again, Missy, thank you for joining us. Say it all the time. You don't have to win to join our show. You're welcome anytime. But we love hearing the stories, and we're going to keep grinding away. And you never know. We might have to talk again in 7 days. You might have to give us some updates.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. But we wish you the best of luck, and thanks again. All right. Have a good night. See ya.
Thanks, Missy.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Right,
Bye-bye.
All right. Missy Gannon. As someone said in the chat, how can you not be a Missy Gannon fan?
It's not possible.
I mean, what are you doing? How much do you hate yourself if you're not somehow a Missy fan?
There's something broken inside of you. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple.
Awesome.
I mean, maybe if you're like Tom's high school sweetheart, that wasn't Missy.
Yeah.
Maybe then. That's the one person.
That's like the low-key dig. Like, I really hate her out there. But What is she's tossing those frisbees around. Tom, we could be playing ping pong together still.
That's right.
The ping pong club they were in.
Oh, my
Maybe
gosh.
not. Maybe not.
Just for a little correction, and I didn't think it was necessary to necessarily bring it up with her. The PGA did do away with the stroke advantage this year.
Well.
They had it the last few years. This year, I think we've talked about, I just looked it up on PGA, elimination of starting strokes for the Tour Championship. It's very difficult to get into the PGA Tour Championship, but they're starting at a level playing field this year. So, again, everybody's trying out different things. Even the PGA doesn't know how to do it right yet. And so they're going back to what they had before. So, and we've talked about this as far as the finale goes, that it all depends what you're looking for out of the finale. Some people, I like like she said, the
Cinderella
the
story.
Cinderella
Sure.
opportunity.
I mean, you still could.
No.
30 second place at this event still, and it would make for an even greater Cinderella story than Nathan Queen because of the deficit.
No. It's not possible.
It is possible.
If whoever's in 30 seconds slashes 1 through 12 tires,
it is
then
possible.
Maybe, no.
No, come on. Humanly possible, yes. Statistically not really plausible, sure, but it is.
You're right. Statistically, if someone comes out and
possible.
shoots 2 16s from there, then you're right. Then it's possible. There's nothing impossible about it. Not likely, though.
Correct.
So which makes it less fun, because the top is still going to be exciting. It's just that I would like to see more people in it. And I like the Cinderella story. I like the weird ultra competitive. It's a tour finale. We can do some weird things with it. But speaking of weird.
Yeah, weird and crunching the numbers. Get some actuaries probably involved at one time or another. Now that I know what an actuary is and what they do, I know they get involved with insurance one way or another. But with that, the guy's setting us up back at Ivy Hill and bringing us into the new London Tech course. None other than Nate Heinold, who's joining us now. Hey, Nate. We don't. Ooh, do we hear you?
Not yet.
There might be one little button you got to press. Maybe allow for microphone. You're hearing us. So allow microphone would be. Speaking of New London Tech, hey, we need some new Heinold Tech support.
Let's look at some.
No, it should be the same as.
It was the exact same as Missy. So nothing changed.
So we're not saying Missy's 10 times smarter, maybe 100 times smarter. Click on the button. There should be a little button that says something about maybe like allow browser to use your microphone.
Maybe refresh or
hit refresh. That might work.
I don't know.
And reconnect with us. We're gonna just wait.
Speaking of tech support, I just want, while Nate's there running through some stuff, I do want to apologize for last week's Patreon episode. I uploaded the wrong one. I uploaded the one from Dana, which is funny because on the Dana episode, I uploaded the wrong one, but I got that one right away. This one, it took me quite a few extra days. So you might see a podcast show up tonight and one tonight. So you might see them both. You might get the USDGC preview and the USDGC recap.
Tonight. What's that from? I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
tonight.
No, we're not going.
That's Phil.
Or some Genesis or Phil Collins. No.
Yeah.
All right. And any? Do we have any better luck with Nate?
Not yet.
Okay. Hey, are you there?
No, that's you. That's some sort of feedback with you, Terry Miller.
We see you kind of trying to talk. One second here, everybody, hold, please.
Double check that it's using the correct mic as well. Maybe you're using something that's not, like if you've got a webcam, sometimes that happens. I'll just do this so Nate doesn't. We're gonna take Nate off screen so he's not panicked looking while we're.
While he works through
it. While he works through it. As soon as we see some audio from him, we will pop him back on.
Okay.
But while we wait for Nate, real quick, we'll talk about the rest of the FPO field other than Missy Gannon. Missy Gannon wins the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship at 13 under par. Anale Tugias Monaste takes second place at 10 under. I don't say controversial second place. in that she didn't run her putt on 17, which was kind of strange. When she had an opportunity. She laid it up, which was odd when she could have maybe made a run at Missy if she gets that birdie and Missy has a problem on 18. Going 2 strokes instead of 3 makes a big difference.
I have what I believe is an update to that even.
Oh, okay.
Gentleman named Glenn who is reaches out to me and said, and I'm not sure when this conversation took place, but he said he had asked Annalie about why she laid up on hole 17, and she said that she never looks at scores.
That's
so
disappointing.
She was not necessarily
cognizant of the
situation.
Standings. Yeah, that's something, and that's I can blame her a little less in that she didn't have a caddy, as far as I understand.
Sure.
I think she was carrying her own bag, and it's not shocking she doesn't have a caddy. She's from overseas, so coming here, maybe not knowing anybody.
Yeah, but there's still live scoring and a billboard following you around.
Correct.
And
but
I know you might want to ignore the other previous 70 holes, but come holes 71 and 72, that seems like a pretty good time. You have to.
I'm with you.
You got to peek at it.
I'm with you.
For this exact reason, right? You got to peek at it.
Then in third place, Silva Saarinen. Oh, we got some audio here for a second. I'm starting to see something pop up on Nate's. Nope, I thought I saw something for a second, but I don't know if I did. Sorry, Nate, not yet. We're still working on it. I thought I saw something show up. Silva Saarinen takes third place, has a horrendous last 4 holes. Goes bogey, double, and then a bogey to more or less gift Missy Gannon a bunch of strokes, as opposed to making it competitive at the end. Just unfortunate. Just really that whole 16 just... She just played poorly. There's nothing more you can say about it. 15's understandable. She threw it in the bushes. Then I think she hit the triple Mando and came back. Still only ended up with a bogey. Hole 16 is getting a triple there is not, as I'm sure anyone would say, not acceptable. You cannot do that on that hole. It's just there's no good way about it.
I did not see it. What exactly happened?
I think she had a lot of hazard. A lot of hazard. So her first shot, I believe she turned it over to the right
side. Okay.
And then her approach into the hazard went to the hazard on the left. And then she ran her putt and it went over the basket or whatever to the hazard on the right. As we call it, army golf, left, right, left, right. Just she kept going back and forth. And it was, at that point, it was over. No good. So Silva Saarinen, crushing defeat on the 16th hole. Sophia
Donica.
Yep. Good. Takes 4th. And it was a big gap between 3rd and 4th. It was 6 strokes. Silva had no worries on 17 or 18 as far as dropping out of podium. And no one could jump up to get her. So congratulations, Sophia. A really good showing this weekend.
Yeah, she was one of my funny stories in her battle back, only in the sense that I think I saw her after round 1 in the parking lot. And she told me she was like 2 under going into like 16, hole 16 or so. And then she went like triple, double, quadruple or something like that. Just the most insane blow up on the last 2 or 3 holes of round 1. And then I saw her in the parking lot in round 2. And she's like, oh, I cleaned things up. I did way better through that stretch. And then as you could see, as we see, she just battled back basically throughout the rest of the weekend, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was a good fight. 5th place, Valerie Mondahano. 6th place, Evelina Salonen. Tied with Cadence Burge. I think Cadence had a really rough beginning of the round, but she kind of fought back towards the middle, and I think an overall good spot for her at the end of this year.
Yeah,
for this particular event, we kind of discussed it with Missy. I think USDGC and Throw Pink, that course requires experience. You play better the more you play that course.
Sure.
Not just experience on tour, but that particular course. I think you learn quite a bit. 8th place, Paige Pierce, who shot a phenomenal second round to really jump herself up. She shot 4 under par, was just on fire through the front 10. Had a rough back 9 there, but, and then we've got 9th place, Hannah Wynn. 10th place, Macy Veladiaz, which is funny because we didn't really talk about Macy at all weekend, practically on the broadcast, but it it is what it is. So hold on a second here. I think we're gonna have Nate here in just a second. As soon as I just adjust something for him, move him around. All right. You think we can talk to Nate Heinold now?
We can attempt. I mean, this might be the best version. He can hear us,
but we can't hear him.
Terry
Miller.
I'm such a jerk.
I'm a little worried. I'm not hearing anything. All right, ready? Let's give it a shot. Ready, Nate? And
yes.
There
Nate
he
Heinold.
is.
There we go.
Hello.
How are we doing? Thank you for the adjustment. I'm not sure what was going on with probably your laptop browser, but it looks like maybe a phone or something. We got you working. How you doing?
I am doing. I'm here. So
all right. Well, we're not going to try and keep you up too late. We know you're also.
We're going to keep them up all night.
We know you're also on the East Coast and had, you were down spectating final round of USDGC, and then you and your team have to get right to business. So let's just set the stage first of all. I think one of the biggest conversation pieces was, a lot of us planned and or heard Ivy Hill was going to be the only course for this year's championship. And then recently, I think to a lot of people's delight, we hear New London is brought into the mix. How did that unfold?
You kind of cut out there, but I heard enough of it. The plan was always to use New London and Ivy Hill, actually. And so I don't know our plan, at least. And so we've been working, the county's been working on New London with this date in mind for a while. And so internally, that was the plan. Maybe we just didn't say it externally.
Okay. So what's that been like ever since basically probably the last time we left New London's course for Worlds, which was August of last year. Here we are, roughly 14 months later. What has had to transpire? How did it all come about?
I mean, it was crazy. Like, I was literally laying in bed at like 10 o'clock, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday night of Worlds last year. And Jeff called me and said, hey, I know we talked about Lynchburg and Bedford for a playoff event. Would you run the Tour Championship instead? And that morning, Bedford had called me and said, hey, we're getting rid of like half of New London. And so in my mind, I'm like having to wow, this is the worst news ever. But then Jeff's asking this. And then Bedford said, hey, we're going to give you guys better land for the redesign. And I had to be like, yeah, whatever. Like, that course is amazing. This sucks. Like, no, believe us. We're going to pay for it and we're going to give you better land. And then Jeff called. And so I had to make a very quick decision. And the county said, we're ready to support it. And Jeff's like, hey, I need to know we're doing the schedule. And so I just said yes. And the county, I said, you have to get it done. And they delivered. So
now, a big part of the conversation is with regard to, I'll say, just Paul Macbeth's involvement or not. Can you set the record for where Paul was involved previously, and how much was he involved with everything that transpired in the last 14 months?
Yeah, I mean, Paul designed the original New London course, and he did it out of the kindness of his heart. I think. I think he lived there and he did the design, and he's designed other courses there. And so he was upset when that news came out that the course was. I was upset too. I mean, the fact that I wasn't happy, but Bedford delivered, and so Paul did the redesign after I think initially Paul didn't want to do it because I think he was upset, but I talked to him about it, and the county talked to him. And then he did the redesign, and he's been up there multiple times for the tweaking. And so Paul did the work on the redesign at New London. And I give a lot of credit to the park for getting the work done, because they rebuilt half the course in the woods. And there's 1,000-foot wooded holes. Like, it was a lot of work, and they did a phenomenal job. So Ryan and the park did a great job, but Paul did. I didn't do the design at all at New London. I've just been involved in the OB side or the lack thereof because I removed some of it. But Paul did a phenomenal job, and the design was Paul. So
okay. Someone on the board, I don't know, I'm uncertain, says Paul and Kenny. I don't know if that's Ben Kenny or if that's Kenny Climo, but was there other?
So Kenny Palmer was involved in the original New London, and Kenny passed away. And he has a bench on hole 1. And so Kenny, he didn't do the redesign, obviously, because he had passed away. But Kenny was very involved in the original New London. But I think it was still, it was still Paul's course.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. When I see Kenny, and obviously, unfortunately here, this Kenny Palmer had passed away, which now I do recall from back at Worlds. I had never met him, but anytime you see Kenny, you're assuming Ken Climo, usually in disc golf. 2 rounds, and just so everyone knows, all players, 2 rounds at New London will take place Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday, everything wraps up at Ivy Hill. Is that right? And that's for all divisions, correct?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday at Ivy Hill, and Thursday and Friday at New London. Yep.
Okay. When Jeff Spring calls you and says, "Hey, what do you think about running a championship, the Pro Tour Championship?" Where, especially as we just looked at being in Charlotte and the Charlotte area for the last few years and their club taking that on, what does that mean for you and your staff and crew? Where's the division of labor, money? Like, where does what all needs to happen there? Pull back the curtain a little.
Yeah, we run other events, and so it's just something we have to add to our schedule of getting the sponsors and lining up the vendors. And, that part is not the hard part. The hard part really is the coursework at New London. I wasn't involved in that, but we had to be involved for building out the rules. And same with Ivy Hill, we made a few changes. This is like other tour events. My team is running it. The Pro Tour is heavily supporting it. The main difference is that Barbasol is the presenting sponsor. I don't have that relationship. That's a tour relationship. And so, that's something that they brought to the table. And I have the relationship with the county and the city and the Ivy Hill Golf Club, and then, visit Bedford for the New London course. And so it is unique there. So it's definitely a partnership on the event with the tour, but it's like most of the other events we run for the tour. We do a lot of the coursework and the vendors and most of the sponsors, and the tour comes in and does their thing with the media, and Evan and Max on the ground doing a lot of the assets. And so it's a good collaborative effort. But they're a little more involved in this one because it is their tour championship. And so they're helping us with, they did the Pro-Am today. My team didn't do anything with that really, because that was, kind of their thing. And so, so we have a great working relationship.
So one of the reasons it's been discussed that it was moved from Charlotte to Virginia was burnout in the Charlotte area from USDGC. They were worried that we weren't going to see the spectators that we saw because USDGC being right before then. Do you feel like moving it to Virginia has helped that? Have you seen any of those numbers as far as ticket sales or spectators? Like, are we going to see a bigger number here than we did there?
Yeah. The ticket sales for Lynchburg will be above Charlotte for sure. I think we passed Charlotte maybe last week. And so I think we'll see 20 to 25% more. I think that's nothing against Charlotte. I just think, Rock Hill is so close to Charlotte. The week after, it's pulling from the same audience. Lynchburg is still 3 hours, but that's enough. It's still too close, I think, to get totally separate audiences, but it's far enough away where the Lynchburg audience is definitely, there's some shared, we would have more spectators if the event was months before or months after, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also very beautiful here right now, and the colors are changing, and it's going to be 70 degrees, 75 degrees. So the weather is perfect here. So this time of the year,
Of course, Missy kind of alluded to it, and I think the whole world loves the idea of seeing 2 distinctly different courses. Ivy Hill being generally open and, playing on some rolling hills, but then just overall open. New London Tech, quite the opposite. You see that same thing happening when, of course, you're at a place like the Green Mountain Championship, just two very different styles of courses. What kind of effort is that to put on an event with two courses that you have to, push all these players through? Now, granted, it's less than normal, but they have to still look as good as any other tour event. What kind of effort is that?
It has to look better because it's the Tour Championship. It's just like Worlds, I really believe in the concept of wooded and open, and this really started. It started back honestly at 2018 Pro Worlds, where I really it was at Smugs that year. It was Brewster, and then it was Fox Run, and then next year at Ledgestone, I did Pro Worlds. I did the same thing. It was Northwood and Eureka and Northwood and Sunset, and then Utah was Mulligan's and the Fort, and then 23 it was in Smugs again. 24 was Lynchburg, same thing, open wooded. Ledgestone is the same way now. I think it's very important to test both skill sets. I really believe in having courses for spectators. Ivy Hill, Winthrop, Eureka, amazing for spectating. Northwood Black, I love that course. New London, I love the course. It's not great for spectating, but it still is you need it. You can't just play at Swenson and Ivy Hill and Emporia Country Club, and you need to play at the Northwoods and the Maple Hills. And we need to find a way to make wooded golf more viewable, but we can't take away all the trees. That's what makes Brewster and Maple Hill and Northwood and New London. So the yin yang that we've done for a lot of these worlds and these big events like Ledgestone and GMC, I think the players like it. But it is an immense amount of work. The Pro Tour told me today, one of the employees said, man, it's an undertaking to do two courses for any event, especially when New London is very new. I mean, Ivy Hill we build Ivy Hill from the ground. We started it, 5 days ago, and here it is. And it's going to be gone Monday morning. It's not like we just plop down and show up and play. We put the baskets in and the rope and the string and the stakes and the signs, and then we take it all out. So it is a lot of work, but it's what's needed for certain venues.
Yeah, and it's interesting, just to double down on that specifically. I know when you're out at Lake Eureka, you're 10, 15, 20 minutes away from essentially Ledgestone's headquarters, most of your employees, your own father, construction companies. There's a lot of things going on in your home base. You're now 13, 15 hours away from home base, and then putting in an entirely temp course on, something that's 1,000 miles away. And I think it's probably easy for all of us to not recognize or to forget that. You and your crew, you're talking literally moving trucks worth, essentially semis worth of equipment and stuff that's got to be moved and all part of your setup. It's no small undertaking, is what I'm saying.
I think between the pallets that we shipped and the 3 box trucks we have here now, it's an $8,000 expense just to move what we needed for the event. We have viewing platforms at Ivy Hill on 1 and 18. We own those now. We built those, but just getting them here is a $3,500 expense. Getting the course stuff here. We shipped pallets from Innova, baskets, and we picked those up in Rock Hill just a few days ago, actually. And so it's much easier to run Ledgestone. D-Glow is still 6 hours away. This event, we were driving box trucks through the mountains to get here, basically, right? Not me, I flew, but I had my staff, in box trucks taking 2 days to get here, and that's just what it takes. So we know the drill. It's a lot of work, but I have a great, I don't consider myself the best TD in the game. I consider myself very lucky to have an amazing staff that really makes me look good, to be honest. So.
Yeah, they all, and I've been around the Ledgestone event a long time. Basically, I think since year 2 of you running it, more than a decade ago. And you're exactly right. It is truly this massive group of people that have helped along the way, and for you to be able to expand to even these other states has been incredible. One of the things there's I think 2 real big sticking points. One, as somebody pointed out a little earlier, there was a rumor of a brand new cell tower going up, down the road from New London, and New London definitely struggled during the Worlds in terms of the signal. Is there truth to this? Is this a new cell tower? Is that brought to us by our friends over at Zuka or Grip, or who put up this cell tower for us? And is it up and running?
Yeah, I have been working on this issue for a year and a half to no luck. I mean, I tried for years at Northwood to get one, and then all of a sudden they built one, a mile and a half from the park, and it helped a little bit, but it wasn't all the way. Here I've been trying, the county's been working with me. They're phenomenal. And then all of a sudden, a few months ago, we started talking to Verizon about a temporary solution. And the cost was, of course, it was in the 6 figures.
Yeah.
Like, well, that doesn't make sense the event is not profitable to do that kind of expense. And so, and then all of a sudden, maybe 6 weeks ago, Verizon responded and said, hey, actually, we've been working with the county and we have a cell tower coming in the park the end of September. And it got turned online September 29th. I tested it Friday morning at 6:45, and the cell coverage is potentially the best on tour now. So
Wow.
we're talking upload speeds on some holes of 25 to 30, when like even toboggan's like a 5 to a 7, and toboggan's decent. And so, so yes, the cell tower's online. The speeds are amazing. New London's going to be great for cells for cell coverage now.
Awesome to hear. And obviously, I know the Pro Tour and the network, these are all concerns and trying to find the best possible solutions and making additional investments. So all of that are moving parts here, but that is certainly good to hear. The other, I feel like the big takeaway during the pre-production meeting we had on the media side today was, I think Andrew Presnell specifically had made a post along the lines of this being one of the toughest courses he's ever played.
Wow.
And I guess, if I paraphrase to something of that nature, what do you say to that? And do you feel like is this tougher than a Northwood Black, or what should we expect?
The course is longer by 1,500 feet. The fairways are much wider, and so I do think that it will play a stroke easier. If I had to just take a guess at the SSA, I think Andrew, it's very hard. It's very long. It's not fun to play, which Northwood Black is not. Northwood Black is not fun to play. There's nothing fun about it, but the course is amazing. New London is a top 5 course in the world. I don't think it's harder than Black, but I do think that I could be wrong, but I do think that a scratch round will be 2 to 3 over, which Northwood Black runs between 3 and 5. And so I'd say it's very close to being hard enough, but the fairways are wider on a lot. Like some of the par 5s, the fairways are, triple the size of the Northwood Black par 5s. And the rough is rough, but it's harder to get to the rough. And so I don't think he's right. I think it's close to being harder, but it's probably not harder, but it's very, very long. So,
well, I'm just doing, I don't know if you have some kind of typo here. Hole 5 says it's 1,234 feet. Hole 6 says it's 1,234 feet. Hole 9 says it's 1,213 feet. So 709 feet. 709 feet is the average.
That's the world's. That's not right. You're looking at last year's layout, I think.
Okay,
yeah. But still, there are There are some par fives that are over 1,000 feet on this course, though. So
maybe whoever uploaded, because you are looking at the 10th page at this particular page, but maybe the course just wasn't updated in the PDGA
just yet
tournament director thing. Maybe they just
it's if you look at the DGPT website, it has the caddy guy on there with the scorecard. Still, a lot of hole 9 is to 1,200 feet. There's still some long holes for sure. So
okay,
if you know a guy at the PDGA, you might want to check PDGA Live.
Yeah, so not fun. That doesn't sound fun.
We were updating the layouts tonight, actually. So sorry, Terry. So.
Hey, I'm not the one that entered it wrong. I'm reading the information that's on the internets, and the internet's never wrong. So, or maybe you are. Anyway, nonetheless, it will be interesting to see, and there's one thing, you touched on it. There's one thing to say it's long. There's another thing to say it's challenging. I don't know that people necessarily argue against those ideas. The question is, is it fair and does it require the right kinds of shots? And that's clearly to be determined, right?
When I design a course, I have different perspectives on what I'm designing for. But in this case, for the pros, what you're trying to design for sometimes is, even at New London, the tee shot may be a mid-range, and then it's a fairway driver. It may be a distance driver, and then a mid-range is what you're going for. New London requires so much controlled distance. But even then, on some of those long par fours, I think Paul designed it where the tee shot may be a mid-range, which is very unique for a long par four. That sets you up better for success. I do think New London is very hard. I don't think that anybody would say it's unfair. There are a couple holes where the OB is very tough, but I don't think unfair is going to be a word that's used at all. I think the pros will, 5 or 6 down may be the hot round. So.
Okay, so switching then over to Ivy Hill, obviously. Well, before I get to Ivy Hill, sorry. Roughly how many of the holes are the same? I know they're different numbered, but roughly how many of the holes are basically the same as what we saw at Worlds for New London? Was it 6 or 12 of them, or how many?
It's probably 6 or 7 with 3 or 4 that are using the same fairways but different tee shots maybe, and so half the course is definitely new is the bottom line.
Okay, half the course. Got it. Now, let's switch over to Ivy Hill and tell me you brought in a bulldozer and you made 14's green sharper.
Steeper.
Steeper. Is that's what you did?
A few more rocks?
And you brought the OB rope up the hill, so
it's straight up vertical. It's just straight up vertical. It's a climbing wall to get to the green now.
The basket is horizontal. Good luck.
We're out there at El Capitan, and just the rock wall.
Listen, for what it's worth, I liked 14. I did. I was in the minority.
I for the most part liked it too, and 2 things I'll quickly say on that. One, yes, I do think it needed just a little slightly different landscaping around it, and 2, the James Proctor putt, as insanely horrifically unlucky as that was, I don't blame the green for that. The for whatever reason, the basket just didn't seem to work on that particular putt, and we know that can happen. It just happened to not work at a very inopportune
and then it got up
spot.
And rolled a ton.
Yeah, that's my point. Anyway, okay. So let's start with 14 though. First of all, is it still number 14, just number wise? And then secondly, what did you do with it?
Yeah, when I put that hole in, I had a lot of opinions saying, Nate, go with your gut, put it there. I initially didn't want to put it there, and then I convinced myself that it would be fair. And in my opinion, I love it. It wasn't fair enough because of the landing, and so we actually were considering blowing out the rocks with dynamite. We were considering bringing an excavator in. We decided to actually, believe it or not, we moved it higher on the hill. So the basket is probably 30, 35 feet higher on the hill. We built a retaining wall. It's now an island green, which that may sound crazy, but it makes sense. I've talked to plenty of players. They like it. The tee area for MPO is actually up and to the right of where the green for 13 is now. So they're throwing an open shot. FPO will still tee off through the wooded corridor. And so the green is higher on the hill. You won't see the rollaways. That rock is not in play because it's out of bounds. If you hit it, then you're short of the green. The island is pretty big and very grabby with grass. We planted sod there. And so the hole is hard, but it'll honestly be easier to birdie and it'll play easier. I watched several pros get it to the green, no problem. So,
Okay.
the other,
So you gave in to the crying pros. That's what I'm hearing.
what it really was is that I wasn't seeing the aggression. Yes, Luke Taylor birdied it a couple times, and you like the Macbeths and the top players. They were getting to 60 feet, 50 feet, and it was too fluky to run it. And that's when you just don't. Like, I thought about building a big retention wall around that green, 8 feet out, and making it 8 feet tall, 6 feet tall, so you would catch the putts that maybe miss. But we just decided to move it up the hill, and I think it's going to work better. So
yeah, it's probably a better hole. You're not wrong. I'm just giving people a hard time.
The other two changes, unless you're going to ask something else.
No, go ahead. Nope, that's what I was just going to say. Go ahead.
The other two changes, one's very subtle. Hole 17, which I love, it looks beautiful. We trimmed some of the tree branches. We helped the root situation on the green. But the big change is I put hay bales behind the basket. And so the discs that stick on the green that kind of scuttle past the basket will get stopped by the hay bales instead of sliding out of bounds. So very similar to 16 at Emporia Country Club, where there's a backstop to keep a decent shot, a good shot on the green if it's slow enough to not skip over the hay bales. So we have that change for 17, which is the island par 3. And then hole 6, FPO is the same. There's no 6 is the downhill par 3 that has the very fast green with the mountains in the background. MPO will now tee off about a 200 feet to the right of where FPO tees off, and they play into the woods, a 550-foot downhill par 3 through the woods. It'll be the hardest hole in the course to burn. We could have taken a few more trees. I probably should have. Didn't quite have the support to do that. I think after this year, we may take a tree or two out. You can't plant big trees back, you know, and so we kind of don't want to take out too many. It's going to be a very hard hole to birdie, but the green is beautiful. It finishes in the woods, kind of behind hole 7.
Yeah, I'm like you said, it's way easier just to wait and see and then slowly take the trees out versus overcorrecting and then realizing you're like, oh no, I maybe would like that giant tree that we took down out. So no problems there.
Yeah, on the FPO side of that hole, though, you're saying you expect to see, you're going to still have the FPO playing from what their tee was last year to the same pin that it previously was, right? He agrees. No, you froze for a second. FPO is basically the same as it was for Worlds, though, on hole 6.
What's that, sorry?
FPO's hole 6 is essentially the same as it was for Worlds. It's different just for the MPO. There'll
be no out of bounds to the left this time. So if FPO wants to throw Heiser short last year.
Okay. Yep. Sweet. I was just seeing the caddy guide myself. That has been, I'm not sure if that's been published everywhere, but I'm going to be obviously analyzing that over the next day while I fly out to Bend myself. So I'll be excited to look at it all. Anything else that at Ivy Hill that will be either shocking or surprising, or feedback that was taken in from players or spectators or whomever? Any other changes at Ivy Hill? You froze up on us. I was asking if there was any other changes at Ivy Hill.
Nope, no more changes at Ivy Hill. I thought the course played great. We did a pretty deep dive analysis on the stats, and we were very happy with, honestly, how most of the course played. It's very different than most golf courses. It has extreme elevation with not a lot of trees in play. And so the The obstacle there is the elevation. I don't have shot shaping trees to wind through like maybe Swenson. I just have elevation. So
Yeah. And then last question along those lines is this weekend's weather forecast. I think it's been really nice there the last couple of days. What are we looking at? What have you guys seen coming into this weekend?
coming into this weekend in terms of what?
Weather. Sorry, forecast. Yeah,
Oh,
forecast.
yeah, sorry. It looks beautiful. 70s, no wind, sunny, chance of rain Sunday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday look like the best weather all year. It's super exciting, to be honest, to be able to run a tournament and not worry about 95 and 75% humidity at Ledgestone or whatever. Like, the weather looks impeccable. So
two of the players that won this last weekend, notably Anthony Umbrella and Missy Gannon, have merch. I know located that you helped do some merchandising and fulfillment for. Is there any Missy Gannon and Anthony Umbrella inventory left over at Team Ledgestone or over at Team Discraft's site anymore?
yeah, we'll, we have some stuff planned for both of them, obviously, and then we have some amazing drops at the event that we already had plans. We don't have anything for Missy at this event because we had planned stuff a month ago. We did some stuff for Missy at Ledgestone and D-Glow, but we have some amazing stuff for AB at this event, including a Brixton card, special Big Z Swirl Luna for him that's going to be there. We have, I think, a Superflex Luna as well. We have some really cool stuff that's dropping exclusively at the event.
Awesome. Anything you want to share with us before we cut you loose here tonight? I know you got a big weekend in store with lots of people. Anything you want to share?
Nope, just tune into the Disc Golf Network. I think people are going to love watching New London. They're going to like watching Ivy Hill. If you're within 5 hours, come buy a ticket. Ivy Hill has some of the best spectating of any course. Everything is so viewable there. The sight lines are amazing. You can see, even as a GA spectator, there's so much to see. I mean, I love watching disc golf, being in the ropes. I got to be in the ropes a little bit at Winthrop watching. It's fun. Ivy Hill, like, everybody can be watching almost everything because there's no trees in the way. It's just elevation. So you can see so much at Ivy. New London is a hike to walk. The viewing isn't as good, but it's fun to walk that course if you want to walk 4 miles. So, so go watch. And if not, come out and watch in person. We have amazing drops planned. And it sounds like Tara Bear is doing commentary. It sounds like, so that's another reason to go watch. So
yeah, I'll be tomorrow. I fly out to Bend, and in the mornings it'll be myself and Valerie, and in the afternoons it's going to be myself, Nate, and Nate in the commentary booth. And then I think we're going to have both Perkins and Earhart out on the ground. So it should be a really good, fun weekend of broadcasting as we're closing out our season.
Does Barbasol just request you now for their?
I mean,
you seem to do all the Barbasol events.
I am, large part of the tour championship and the finale, and
we can't
put it on your face.
Oh, that's why we can't have Charlie. What'd he say? Put it on my head?
Yeah,
I mean that guy's got no hair.
So, yeah, that's a good point. So looking forward to it. I had one. Oh, I did have one other kind of. This related is next year's major Champions Cup going to be in Virginia. All rounds at Ivy Hill or at New London Tech or mixture or one or the other. Has that been decided?
Yeah, the Champions Cup will be 4 rounds at New London, and the Tour Championship will be 4 rounds at Ivy Hill
next year.
Next year.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Yeah, Johnny doesn't like it, so I'd
rather see them both mixed again. I know people hate that, but seeing multiple courses. But when you have these two different styles of courses, I would still rather see mixed courses rather than just going through the same the same round 4 times. I'd rather see them mixed twice than like all one and all the other. Personal opinion, take it or leave it.
But imagine the players coming from USDGC and they have 3 days to practice two very long courses, Ivy Hill, New London. It's not ideal for the players probably. So this will be better for the players. Is my assessment. So,
and that's a totally legitimate discussion. I just, as a viewer,
Yeah,
I
it
think
breaks
you
it
know,
up a little more.
I like the breakup of the different style of courses as opposed to we'll say a little bit more of the repetitive same course, regardless of which course it is. It doesn't matter to me, but
Yeah.
oh, all right, whatever.
All right. Well, the internet will let us all know.
Yeah, and who knows? It might change by next year. Nobody knows.
I hear we're going to be back at the IDGC next. No, maybe not yet. Anyway, all right, Nate, we're going to let you go. We know you got a whole team of people to coordinate with, but thank you for all the efforts. If I've got other questions this week, I know I'll be sending you a text message, and we'll make sure we get it all as right as we can on the broadcast. But thank you so much. Good luck to you,
Yes. Yep.
the entire team, all of the Pro Tour, all of the network, everybody there, and the huge effort that it is, along with Ivy Hill and Bedford County. So thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Good night, Nate.
All righty, Nate Heinold giving us the scoop. Some good detail there and insight, and I think that says a lot when someone as seasoned and experienced as Andrew Presnell says, this is the hardest course I've played by a long shot. Like, that says something. I mean, he's a major champion that won a major playing at Northwood Black, the Northwood course or Northwood Gold or Northwood whatever. That definitely says something as the road warrior that he is. So we wish everyone the best of luck. I was already informed, due to length and probably challenge, there'll probably be very quick turnarounds come our broadcast schedule from FPO getting through the course and then flipping it around and getting started on the MPO side. So it's going to be a big weekend.
Well, at least the fields are a little smaller,
and we got the best of the best.
Yeah, and the best of the best. We shouldn't have any of them. Nobody's slumming it.
No. All right. Well, thank you again, Nate. Best of luck to everyone there. Real quick, let's jump back over now to the major that did just complete, and of course, first time major winner, Anthony Barella taking it down.
Yeah, he just shot some really good golf consistently. The final round was a 7 under par, which I think was the second best score, on the course that day. It was a little windy all weekend, and it was enough that it would affect players' throws and putts, and Anthony just has a natural skill to be able to power through a lot of that wind, which I think helped him, not to mention not missing many putts and just making really smart decisions overall. And Anthony just had a great weekend. So there's not much to say. It was really fun watching the battle between him and Paul up until really about hole 12. I know that Barella got an eagle on 10, which Paul parred. But it was really 12 when Paul took the bogey and AB didn't. Then I think that was like a 3-stroke. At that point, it was 3 strokes. And from there,
they kind of matched quite a bit after
that. From that point, to me, from watching, I felt like Anthony had it in the bag. Paul was going to have to do something really special in order to catch him. And Paul did do something kind of special on 16, threw in a 115-footer or so to make it interesting. But that was after AB was parked. AB threw some Luna that was 7 feet away. It was the most beautiful shot you'll see. And then Paul, gets up on that tee and catches a tree on the right-hand side. Thankfully, didn't go OB. And then was able to throw in a 115-footer, as we said. And it's just, but by then it was almost too late because we're going to hole 17. And as much as everyone talks about 17, it just doesn't have the teeth it used to.
Like, it has the same teeth, but like we said earlier, they're just figuring it out. And a lot of people, I think, are just naturally bailing out and being perfectly content with the 3.
Technically it has less teeth than it used to because you can still move up now after so many throws. But you can still put up a big number. You can put up like a 10 maybe or something like that. But
I just think more people are more comfortable
Yeah.
bailing it out and saying, you know what, I'm okay. If I get a 3 all 4 rounds,
Yep.
I'm still probably gaining strokes on the field.
And I'm not going to lie, like, AB was lucky as hell on 17. Like that, he threw what I felt was he made a poor decision. Threw a good shot, but the decision was poor. Because did you see how close he's going into 17 with 3 strokes, and he gets up there and throws this forehand zone shot that hits, I would say, 9 to 10 feet behind the basket, and there's only like 12 feet behind the basket till you get to the water. It looked like it almost hit a cameraman, and then it just stuck right before the OB line. Like almost every other shot like that is going out of bounds. Now, as I was screaming at my TV, he has 2 options, in my opinion, there with 3 strokes. You lay it up short, take your 4, probably pitch it off to the right and take the 4, or you throw, if you want to attack the green, so to speak, throw a bigger forehand that bails out more right. I don't necessarily think you have to lay up. I think that would have been the most safe move you could make, but at least bail it out to the right, because then he gets up to 17 after he makes this lucky as hell shot and still lays it up from like 25 feet because he was facing the hay bales. So it was just it was a crazy set of events for him to actually be able to land that island the way he did.
Yeah, you're saying the smarter play, wider,
higher, wider, way off to the right.
Yeah,
I know you're watching it here behind the scenes, but you can see, you'll see it in a second when they show the replay, how, like, just how lucky he was to stick behind the basket. And it's funny that they chose one camera angle there, that they didn't choose the catch cam, which showed it the way it came in,
the way it hit and reacted off the ground.
Correct, the way it hit and reacted off the ground. Maybe they're going to do that in a replay in a few minutes. I haven't watched the Jomez version of it, but just the decision itself, I felt was, now maybe he was trying to throw it further right, and he got a little lucky and he yanked it. But he had said, I think in his post-round interview, that is the disc that had been working for him all weekend. Great,
sure.
Happy for it. And that he probably juiced it a little too much, which makes sense. I mean, being in the position, but that was my thought too. Like, if you're going to juice it to the right. Like pitch it up and let it kind of crash down there where you're so less worried about where you actually hit as opposed to where he did. Again, just lucky, because if he's an extra foot away, if he's an extra foot further, he brings Paul right into this. Now, instead, because he was safe, Paul had to go and attack. And then Paul went OB as well. But that's neither here nor there. Paul had to go for it. Like, there was no question, as we know, Paul doesn't care about if he takes second or third or seventh, which is, just the way it works. I'm sure he does care, but he's going for the win.
Much,
he's going for the win. So it was just a crazy set of circumstances. And at that point, you get to 18. AB can play crazy safe.
Yeah.
And he's had that shot lined up. I think he threw a mid up to the center of the fairway, chucked something up to the top, laid up, and put in for a 4. And Macbeth did get the birdie on it in order to make sure to tie for second, because he was tied with Ricky at that point, and Ricky got the birdie as well. So winning was Anthony Barella. And I don't do this very often. I was slightly rooting against Paul Macbeth for 2 reasons. One, it was, in general, I don't root for or against most players. I kind of root for the stories. I think what stories are the best. And Paul has a great story trying to become a major, tie Kenny's record in majors, getting his 4th USDGC. AB has a great story. Ricky has a great story. The problem I had with Paul was his stupid hat. Wearing the Dodgers hat. And he's probably a Dodgers fan. I get it. Growing up, up over there.
Growing up in California.
Yeah. So I had to root against him, knowing that the Brewers were going to go up against the Dodgers the next day on Monday.
Yeah,
and so I unfortunately had to root against Paul McBeth on this Sunday for wearing that ugly hat. And but it wouldn't have mattered to me who won in general. But I'm happy to see AB win. He's been grinding now for a few years. He had his big breakout year last year where he racked up a whole bunch of early wins. This year, not as many wins, but the one he got, that's a damn good one. Not gonna lie. Fourth place, Calvin Heimberg. Calvin had a pretty good final round. Shot a 6. When the best round is an 8, you can't really complain with a 6 too much. He was never really in it that final round. It was really a 3-horse race between Ricky, Paul, and AB. And Ricky just started out so slow. Had that, I don't say it very often, we'll talk about it right after this, had that nasty spit putt on 6 on the beach hole.
It wasn't that nasty. I disagree.
I think it's more of a spit. Let's get into it in a second. Fourth place, Kelvin Heimberg. Fifth place, Nicholas Antala, who always plays well here. Sixth place, Austin Turner. Seventh place, Gannon Burr. Eighth place, Andrew Marweed. Congratulations. Andrew always plays well at the end of the season. It feels like kind of like Missy. Like he gets to the East Coast, and then he just starts playing well. It's kind of crazy how well he did. And Gannon taking 7th is really the big story. Returning champion, just could not find his putt. It felt like, as much as we want to be or as I want it to be like a Gannon versus AB kind of dominance for the next 10 years, it really felt like it was Gannon versus Mother Nature.
Yeah.
He couldn't figure it out. He complained a lot about the wind whenever he was putting. He just absolutely couldn't get his putt dialed in. So it was interesting to see how he reacted to a lot of these shots, and he just never got in. He never got in the competition after day 2. So in 9th place, Kyle Klein, and in 10th place, Isaac Robinson. That is your top 10 at the USDGC, a PDGA major. Now, Ricky's putt. You don't think it was a spit putt?
Well, I just sent you a link, and
Okay.
This might be a different angle.
I saw your angle. I looked at your angle on Instagram.
And so why don't you go ahead and show it? I just sent you the link. So
All right,
a couple clicks, and you can show it.
I can hopefully show it here in a second.
Yeah. So this is Dave from the Dyers Guild who got this
I gotta
angle.
pause it here.
I don't know what angle was shown on TV, and I wasn't out there.
It was one from behind him.
Directly behind him.
And
And I think this is kind of off center, and therefore I think it gives an even better view of the basket and how it comes in.
It does.
And
I
it's low.
No, it's right where you want to hit it. Like maybe an inch low.
It hits the basket.
The back end of the disc hits the basket.
It hits the basket. It was an inch higher, and that stays in, and it's a great putt.
I agree.
This is a low putt.
I agree with that.
Play it slower.
I don't know if I can play it slower, but
it comes in.
Try to back it up a little bit.
It comes in low.
Yep.
It scoops up. It hits off the rim. You don't ever want your putt hitting the rim.
You're 100% right. You are 100% right in that you don't want it to hit the rim. But I will say, I think that putt sticks way more than half of the crappy putts I saw spit through the top of those chains.
Now, let me back up and say, again, another story. I was on caddy duty for the first 3 rounds.
Yes, you were. How come not 4?
I saw exactly 0 putts that should have stayed in come out. Now, I have a very limited sample size of the 3 rounds I walked with the 4 guys in the group, and I pretty much watched every putt. I saw in fact, on my live stream on the first night, I said there were 3 or 4 putts that absolutely should have come out that were like high left. And I'm like, in what world do those stay in? And I don't know if it had anything to do with the new chains or not. I'm not even saying that. I was just in general shocked. That wasn't even a chain conversation. That was just me being shocked that I saw 3 or 4 putts in round 1 that I was like, when did high left become okay? So that and then 2 more rounds of caddying. I personally saw 0 questionable putts. Now, and it sounds like the rest of the world
there were
yourself included, obviously, have a very different opinion.
Yeah, there were some key putts that we saw on the broadcast. And to be honest, on watching the broadcast, we don't get to watch a lot more golf than you see as a caddy. I mean, we're watching the lead card and probably 2 other players usually key in. What I saw from these baskets, and these are, what I hate is that these are brand new baskets, debuted at USDGC. I don't like that plan. I would rather get a elite series in with these baskets somewhere before we debut them at a major. But what I saw is that these baskets had a problem catching high. Like when a player would hit high. I'm not saying they're spit putts by any means. Like I feel Ricky's was more of a spit putt than these. Because if my perfect putt is a slow putt coming down into the basket. Obviously, you don't want to hit the basket into the chains, kind of just barely off center, so you're not hitting the pole itself. And you and I know this because how many years do we play with Mach 3s where you got screwed by the rings of Hedrick in there? Like you'd hit those rings and it would bounce you back. So we learned to putt a little bit off center. You don't want to hit that pole. What I saw from these new Innova Tour baskets were like Simon's on hole 1, where it was like a 50-footer that he hit high right chain. It was probably 6 inches from the top, and it split straight up and down and went right out the back. Like, and I'll say that particular...
Could that have happened on any other basket?
Could have happened on any other basket.
Okay.
Any of these could have happened on any other basket, to be fair, with the exception of maybe like a Mach X. Because the chain configuration on the inside, those probably aren't going through. But my big thing here is obviously putting is essential to our game.
Wow.
And knowing how to putt on specific baskets, which is why I don't like that these were debuted. I'd rather have the pros get a round or 2 or 3 in, because knowing how you putt on specific baskets might change the way you putt. If you played around on these and you knew after watching this, you're like, oh, if you hit these high, there's a chance they're going to come through more so than other baskets. You might aim at a different spot. As opposed, and granted, it's hard when you're 50, 60, 70 feet away. Your goal is to hit the chains.
Yeah,
but we saw some that were 20 feet away. What I hate is watching a player from 20 feet away hit high center, have it come out, and then people cry that that's a spit putt. Like, I don't think it is, because if you're hitting high enough where your disc has enough time to change angles or move, you're already not an optimal putt. That's like a 95%er to me. Like Ricky's, where he was hitting, that's close to 100%, I feel, if you're hitting in that general area. Like, you're coming down into the basket. Now, his had the unfortunate part that he obviously hit the rim, flattened it out, and then ricocheted out. But I would take that putt over what I saw from half these guys that spit through the center of the chains. And you can cry all you want that's bad for the game, that hitting the chains. But again, our goal isn't to hit the chains. Our goal is to put it in the basket. Hitting the chains helps you fall in the basket, but that's not our goal. Like, when you watch someone tap in on 18, they're next to the basket. What do?
They slam it into the chain super hard.
Yeah, or they put it up the top of the cage and they drop it like Plinko, right? No, they set it in the bottom of the cage because they don't want to. If I set it at the top of the basket and let it fall, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance it jumps out. Like, so for people to sit and scream that, like, oh, they should catch, anything. No, if it's above halfway in the center of that basket, no. Game that might fall most of the time. That might land, that might go in 99% of the time. But you're risking it. You're risking a 1%. You know who I don't see get spit putts very often? Barry Schultz, Ken Climo, Paul McBeth, for the most part. Like, they just, the way their discs are coming into these baskets,
they're diving in.
They're diving in, as opposed to players now who slam baskets, because we've grown accustomed to these chain configurations that will catch so much stuff. Why do you think Andrew Marweed is a 93 or 94% putter? Yes, he's probably more accurate than most players, but on top of that, there was one on that final round he threw up. It hit so wide right and fell straight down into the basket. Because it was starting to come down and come down slowly, as opposed to hitting the basket flat, hitting the basket level, as in not coming down, hitting the basket with the nose, your disc with the nose up. Like, these are all things that, like, you can correct as a player. Don't hit him so high. Don't hit him so hard. Try to aim lower. But I get it. You know what else Barry Schultz and Ken Klima weren't doing? Hitting 30 to 40% C2 putts like our guys are. Like,
so is that your trade-off?
That's your trade-off, I think. I think if you're going to learn a putting style, and you might have to make that trade-off. You might have to look at the percentage and say, well, I'm going to hit more here. The more I hit here are worth the spit outs I might have closer up. And that is a legitimate, completely legitimate thing to weigh. It's like the NBA and jacking up threes all day. Your percentage is going to be lower, but guess what? You're going to score more points in the long run. It's just what they figured out. That's how our putters play these days. So when I see putters and players and people on the internet watch putts that hit above middle basket and cry that they came out, I just shake my head and go, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot.
We will. What will never happen is that everyone, or most people even, will agree on what a good putt even looks like. And that's why I think you get every single putt that gets in a replay, there's anywhere from like 2 to 5 levels of agreement in terms of that was a good putt. Oh, it wasn't a bad putt. That should have stayed. That could have stayed. Like, and that's the problem is like, we are so far from a universal concept of what a good putt even is. I mean, it's like we're not all even coming to the argument with a great baseline, and that's what I think is the struggle here. Because what I think might be a good putt or should be a good putt might look so different to the next guy, and I think that's part of the big challenge here, is because that's why everyone can argue on the internet about if it was a spit or not. Because we're all coming in with a different understanding of what a putter should be trying to do in the first place.
And I'm not saying they're not. I mean, I have said that they're not spit putts. I don't necessarily know if I believe they're not spit, because they are being spit out of the chains. But the other thing I'm thinking is, like, you've created that situation by hitting the chains where you're hitting them. And so to cry about them coming back out, you're asking for it. You're literally giving the disc the opportunity to do it. What else are you going to expect? That's how I feel. Is it spitting it out? Yes. I guess there's no argument about that. It's spitting it out of the chains. If these discs were hitting the bottom of the basket and coming out, I would have a big problem with that. And we've seen that. We've seen discs hit funny and circle on. Greg Barsby usually doesn't have too many spit putts. Yeah. I've seen him have some spit approaches, but that's because he has that like funny, that long, spinny toss. But his putts go up and come down into the basket. Yeah. He's an old school style putter. And I think, to me, that is the ideal putt. You can make your argument one way or the other, but that's how I feel, is that, how high up are you hitting that basket? How high up of a chance are you giving it? The further up you're going, the bigger the percentage. Now, that percentage change might be 98 versus 99.
Yeah.
But that's still, 2 out of 100. And if we're showing 200 to 300 putts around, you're probably going to see that once or twice. Now, again, I think these particular baskets, they had, for whatever reason, a different tendency when you hit them high to flip your disc up. Now, that could just be the few that I saw, but it happened like 3 times where the disc hit flat, and for whatever reason, where it hit, the disc spun straight up and down and then came through. Like, maybe it's a problem with the basket or the chains. Maybe it's just dumb luck that it happened 3 times in like the 4 days I was watching. So it's hard for me to say. There's such a small sample size.
Yeah, and I guess I'd be curious as to what protocols are when it comes to essentially having, because I feel like, well, I shouldn't even comment on it because I don't know if the basket was essentially a Pro 28, which is approved disc catcher 28, is an approved basket, and then you just add more chain and that still keeps it approved, or how much the entire chain configuration was altered in total. I didn't analyze it enough to be able to actually speak on that, so I won't. But yeah, it brings up a good point, is, and you're not the first or the last to say, hey, should we be essentially debuting new basket configurations at a major?
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Now, I will. The only pushback I'll have before we can move on from this is, yes, the players have to learn how to putt on these baskets, and yes, they have to learn the likes and dislikes and the nuances to them. All of these players for this major had 2 or 3
practice rounds,
or maybe 4 or 5 or 6 practice rounds on them. It's not like the baskets were all the old
out Thursday
morning. It's not like they're, oh, hey guys, I know you've been practicing for 4 days, and now here's a whole new set of baskets.
Meet the tour baskets.
So they did get to see them, and they were in a number of places. But yeah, the question is, is that considered enough time? I don't know.
Yeah, so. and part of it is just optics. You're right. The players had a lot, but the viewers have not had a chance to see these baskets, and so when you have this, even if it is a small sample size of these discs that are slicing through them, so to speak, then we have a problem. If these were debuted at 2 or 3 events prior, and they were like, hey, look, here's our new tour basket, and that weekend went fine, and then this weekend you had a couple spit putts, you might still see people saying like, oh gosh, those baskets, but we'd have a bigger sample size. Or if we saw that happen a couple events ago and then it happened this one, that'd be different. I don't have the right answer. I didn't like the optics of it, as I'll say that.
Okie dokie. Real quick, before we go any further, happy birthday to AJ Risley.
Birthday, Riz.
Boy, AJ Risley, celebrating a birthday out there today. So happy birthday to him. You see him quite often out on the cameras. He does most of the roles and functions out on the Disc Golf Pro Tour or Disc Golf Network. So happy birthday to AJ Risley. What did he tell me? I think he's 30. Did he say 34 today? Whatever it is. Happy birthday to AJ.
Old?
Yeah, I know. We met him when he was 20.
I suppose. Like to me,
that's crazy. Even technically, we met him in 2007 when he came here for AM Worlds with his dad Alan. So 2007, that was 18 years ago. So he was 15 or 16.
I was thinking
he was 15.
31 is what I was thinking in my head.
He's getting old.
Okay.
So happy birthday to AJ Risley. And then we're going to say to the wife of the recent Hall of Famer in Brian Schweberger, who we talk about often, his much better half, Ashley,
she is
celebrating a birthday, and it was always great to get a hug and a smile, and then some from Ashley this past weekend. They couldn't be a more beautiful and fitting couple, as they're both always so incredibly fun-loving and gregarious to be around. So happy birthday to Ashley as well. Okay, couple birthdays. Wanted to throw them out there.
We can wrap this up and get into the after show.
We can get in the after show. I'll talk a little bit about my experience as a caddy and also some of the live shows that went down this weekend. How I pissed off the internet big time.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh yeah,
catch
we
that.
didn't even talk about it. I pissed off some
Can't wait
people
to
tonight.
hear it.
Last night, I made some people
Last night?
Yeah.
Oh, not even like Sunday night.
No, last night into today, I made some people big mad.
Big mad. Let's leave them hanging until the after show, Terry.
I know they're thinking, what's new?
I mean,
where's the story
most
there?
People are like,
they're like, no,
we'll find out
deal.
why he's a dumbass soon.
Yes. All right. Congrats, of course, to none other than Anthony Barella getting that major victory. You know, we say it, that it seemed inevitable that it was going to happen eventually, but sometimes that's easier said than done for the rest of the media crew. You assume it's going to happen, but somehow you got to show up and get it done. And this weekend he broke through, and it was awesome to see as a kid, seeing him at 12 or 13 years old.
I can now say I've beat a major winner.
Yes.
I don't know if I can say that about any other major winner.
Probably not.
But I beat a major winner.
If I would assume. Yeah, I mean, who cares if he was like 9?
He was like 13.
Yeah, so
whatever.
Good on you.
Yeah.
etch that into the old diary. But congratulations to Anthony Barella for taking down the USDGC. Congratulations, of course, to our guest in Missy Gannon, big money Missy, doing things. I'm projecting she's going to definitely get over that six-figure mark in terms of the earnings this year, and going to do it gracefully and with a smile, regardless of the outcome. And we absolutely love to see it. So congrats, sir. Congrats to the entire staff and the crew and everyone that was part of Throw Pink, Sarah Nicholson, Jonathan Poole, Chad Sullivan, just everybody. I could name hundreds and hundreds of people out there in order to make that event happen. Both of those events happen, I should say, and to the PDGA and the major and all the staff and crew, and then, of course, Disc Golf Pro Tour and the network doing what they had to do to make it happen. So best of luck to Nate Heinold and his crew this weekend. I'm sure we'll be talking to at least one of the winners, if not both, come next week here on the show as well for our Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. And that's going to be it for Smashbox TV Podcast 577. I've got some inside scoop and some other details in the after show. For Johnny V, I'm the Disc Golf Guy. Wow. After show coming up. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV Podcast 577's After Show. Nailed it.
Yeah. It's hard through the tears that I'm crying for my Brewers. And when people get this, it'll be Friday, so which means that we'll know probably how Game 3 went. Because the Brewers now, they lost
lost 1-5
1-5
to the old Dodgers.
Yeah, and it's
who I heard Paul Macbeth is part owner of now.
Yeah, probably.
He's one of those.
He couldn't have wore like a Padres hat or something for Dylan, or there's all the rumors now he's going to be traded somewhere, but his contract is up with Seattle with San Diego.
Oh.
No, maybe not. Talking about baseball real quick. I really, really wanted to see a Mariners Brewers World Series, and they've got so many ties between the two teams historically and whatnot. But I don't think we're going to see that. It's really hard to beat the Dodgers. They're such a good team. Their luxury tax, what they pay over, because you have to pay so much if you go over like the quote unquote fake salary cap, is more than the Brewers' salary, is what I heard. Like they have I think their salaries equal like $350 million a year, whereas of the Brewers I think are at like 150 or 120 maybe, somewhere around there. We're the fifth lowest. They are the number one team. So it's hard to beat that in baseball. It's one of the reasons why baseball kind of sucks, but it's so fun to watch the playoffs. But again, it's going to be very difficult to come back 2-0 going to LA. So I can hope and pray, but the hopes are not high. Let me put it that way.
Well,
speaking of people who got eliminated, round 4, Nate Doss.
my fault.
Well, we all know that. What happened, Terry? Like, from your perspective as the caddy, where was Nate's deficiencies? And I don't know if you talked with him about this at all, or if you've just
No,
I'm sure he would admit to most of these. But what happened?
I would just say it the level of golf that you see from the likes of Gannon and all of our obviously our top players, they do make it look easy. And to know that someone like Nate Doss, who 3-time world champ, literally one of the greatest to ever play as well, to see that he's not out there daily, first of all. No. I mean, there is something to be said about putting your disc in a closet for 11 months and then being like, okay, I'm going to make a go at this. And that's no slight on him. I give him credit for getting them out and throwing them into the net every day like he did. It is just such a high level that you need to be playing at in order to go get it done. And I'll summarize it quickly and just say it was a lack of birdies. And right off the bat, I'll say there's something to be said about is daunting as hole 1 or unassuming maybe as hole 1 may seem. Yeah, I feel like it used to go from a must get birdie, like hole 1 legitimately
it was,
with slight redesign, not the triple Mando, much more forgiving, a little bit shorter. Hole 1 almost used to be a must get birdie on this course, and it is so not that. Actually, if you could go scroll to the stats, I'd be curious on hole 1 in general, like where does it rank? It's certainly going to rank on the slightly easier side of the overall course, I'm sure. Sort by average. There you go. And see, okay, so it's still the 3rd easiest hole on the course.
Yeah.
So it is one that you're going to get. It's also the hole that you're probably least likely to find in out of bounds, although there is, of course, still
if you
the
kiss
Mandos.
And kick left or miss the Mando.
Yeah, but if you kick right or left far enough, as Nate did in the 3rd round, like par wasn't even possible. He hit the Mando tree, kicked 15, 18 feet left, and because of the angle, it like literally par wasn't possible.
Sure.
Because he was straight right, 90 degrees.
And you can't.
And then he had to lay up to the Mando and then punch through.
Okay.
That's 100 and some feet still.
Yeah.
I mean, so it effectively, if he would have missed it versus where he was, it was essentially the same thing. So we didn't get hole 1 any of the 3 rounds.
I love that it's we. So
I know. I don't know. It's so funny because
I know.
I was so emotionally invested.
As you should be. You're his
clearly
friend
I
and his
take
caddy.
no real credit, but it just we're. I mean, if Missy and Tom are a team, damn it, me and Doss are a team.
Did you give him any slaps on the ass like I told you?
Just one.
Okay.
Maybe that was the problem.
That was
not enough of that.
It was probably during round 1, during his best round too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to call it a little bit of a momentum thing, like just not getting some birdies to get things going. I felt like we started a little bit in a hole, definitely on round 1, where he took a triple bogey on the 2nd hole of the tournament, and then a bogey on the following hole. Then he battled back right after that. He really
shot like a 1030 rated round.
1035, or at one point was rated 1035 unofficially, and was his best round. And we were sitting in a tie for 27th or 30th, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, we're definitely going to clean some things up. It's got a little windier. Some of the pins I felt like got easier. Hole 3, for instance. But let me just tell you, I don't know what you guys saw. Hole 4 is you either get it or you don't. You don't luck. Either you pure that shot and you do have a look for birdie, or you're probably scrambling for the par.
Yeah,
like
scrambling because if a lot of those shots, if you make the Mando, you still don't get up there, and a lot of times you're pitching up.
Yeah.
Some people are lucky enough to maybe have like a 50-foot putt at it, but so many people,
Rarely, yeah.
Yeah, so many people catch one of the trees, if you're lucky, after the Mando, and then you're
just simply scrambling, and you're playing for the 3, which is fine. Yep. We parted all 3 rounds. Obviously, disasters can happen on 5 due to you throwing it in the water. And then when you throw it in the water, depending where it went, 9 times out of 10, you probably threw it somewhere and it's not coming back. No. So there's a disc that might be gone for the day and or the whole weekend or forever. Which certainly sucks. Hole 6 really bit us on the weekend. Like, he played hole 6 at bogey, then he made the par round 2, and then round 3 a triple.
Oof. Like
the beach hole, he played ultimately 4 over in 3 rounds.
Yeah, and that beach hole is one you can't triple that. Like,
no.
Like, you just,
because he did what Ricky did.
You skip in the water and then you go after it from the drop zone,
and then miss that, and then miss it from the drop zone.
Yeah,
and then you're re-putting, and then you miss that putt, and then you tap in. So 6 can come real quick on that hole.
It definitely can,
and that's exactly what happened to Ricky. Though. I think second round. I think they both did the exact same thing second round. So whatever round Rick 6 did, maybe his, it wasn't the second round, but
I think it was the third round, because I think Ricky's second round is where he went fucking nuts.
Okay, so yeah. And then, Doss, understandably, I think the rest of the world, and I'm sure the stats will tell you, 11, 12, and 13 are brutal.
They are.
Yeah, it's the gauntlet. It is the gauntlet on that course. Now, everybody has their own little challenging holes or pockets and everything, and I get that. But 11, 12, and 13 is really the gauntlet, and that's where we struggled. I'll say it. Hole 11, in almost every configuration, even when I played in the event as well. Okay. So go back how many ever years, the multiple times I played, hole 11 is my least favorite tee shot.
That's the one that kept me out of USDGC.
Exactly. That's nothing to do with any other reasons or skills.
Hole 11 is actually right where I knew I flat out knew I wasn't going to make it. Like, up until then, I was actually playing okay, if I recall. I don't believe probably well enough to get in, but I was like, all right, this is respectable. Like, I'm doing okay. Hole 11, I just and that was when it was stroke and distance that year. So I remember going out of bounds, taking it from where it went out of bounds, throwing. I think I still took like a 5 or a 6 on it, and then finding out later, I was like, oh no, I was supposed to
Oh yeah, you played it wrong, didn't you?
I played it wrong, which it didn't matter because I finished the round, and then I was like, I'm not cashing. I'm not getting into the tournament anyway. But at that point, after I threw I think out of bounds at least twice on that hole, I was just like, I'm clearly not making it in. If I would have played perfect, like, for me, that last 8 holes, I might have had a chance, but that clearly didn't happen or wasn't happening. But 11 is it's a tough hole. To be honest, it sucks to watch on camera. 11 and 12. It's just, it's not pretty. It's very difficult to see where things go and where the OB is, and shots that look bad end up safe off to the left. Some shots that look good suddenly come up into the hazard, and you're like, it's just, and it's got to be difficult for a player, which is one of the reasons those holes, the experience matters so much on those holes. Knowing where to land and knowing what to throw is so important there on those particular 3 holes. But it's probably my least. It's obviously one of the hardest stretches of the course. It's also, I think, my least favorite to watch.
Yeah, hole 11 is and good on everyone that has it figured out. I had to do a triple take during the interview with Ann Deputy when she told me. Now they play to a slightly shorter pin, which doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Ann Deputy told me 11 was her favorite hole on the course. I was like,
You're on.
Yeah, I had to restrain myself. I'm remembering she is a 16-year-old young woman. I was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. But anyway, so it was, and then there's a certain deflation that once we got to a certain point in round 3, that's when it's reality sets in a little bit of the slow start, not getting it going. And then it was, around 9, when he came up short on 9 in the B position, played, I think it said 340. And somehow, I'm still honestly shocked by it because I did watch it on my phone later again. He came up just short, which forces him over to the, basically.
That's the one with the rocks that mark the OB, correct?
Yeah, just short of it.
Yeah.
He came up short of it, and he had a drop-in birdie the day before to that pin. And that's what I was like, oh, man. And I still don't understand. I mean, you're throwing 340, it's into a headwind, and you have to, it's 340 to the pin. If you're near the pin, it's like 329. Like, you don't have a lot of room.
Yeah.
So if you're going right at the pin, and he was trying to go right or left of it, but it's still very tight green. And that's when I was like, oh, no. And then hole 10, he did get all 3 rounds for birdie.
Oh, sure.
Where you're still losing probably 3 strokes or 4 strokes to AB at that point.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Like, to see
Paul did it.
Yeah.
Paul laid up every time. The final round didn't kind of bit him on that one where he threw it out of bounds on the layup.
Interesting.
Just shanked it left. I don't know. When it came out of his hand, I'm like, ooh, that's a little tight. It just didn't look like his other throws. And sure enough, like suddenly the whole crowd moves as he's like over
the road.
Yeah, road to side. You couldn't see exactly where it landed, but
sure.
It was definitely OB. And you're just like, what did you just... That right there was where I kind of shook my head and go, uh-oh, this isn't looking good for Paul.
Yeah.
Especially when AB parks it.
So it was, long and short of it, it was an incredible experience. I have never caddied in any real capacity, certainly at that level, outside of carrying a camera and bags for my daughters at some of the women's events,
sure,
where I was just as much a camera operator as I was a caddy at the time for those. This, by far and away, was my biggest caddying experience. And it's funny how many people are like, you haven't done this? You don't do this before? I'm like,
no.
Every big event that's ever happened in front of my eyes has been with a mic or a camera lens. Like,
what was your biggest screw up as a caddy?
I genuinely don't think I had any major. I said this. I don't remember where I said it.
You didn't like water the wrong way or weren't there.
I didn't. I didn't disappear with something. I showed up on time. I didn't. He doesn't really use a rangefinder, and there was no real need for one. But I didn't give any wrong distances. I didn't. Leave snacks or something behind. The bag almost never left my back, almost at any point. Yeah. Like, I just strapped it on. Even when we were standing in a little bit of a backup, maybe I would take it off and set it at my feet for a moment. I didn't wander off into anywhere. I actually did the scorekeeping for him, so to speak. And that became a little stressful only in the sense that I was also trying to film a lot of shots, which wasn't necessarily my goal. But then when I got there and I'm like, well, yeah, I should be filming this stuff. And then the question became, well, am I filming the other 3 guys with my phone? Like, I kind of wanted to, not every shot.
Because you might get a good shot. You
exactly.
Might get a great...
And it's like, and it's not like Nate's going to be mad at that idea, And of course, the best shot of the whole weekend, the single best shot of the entire weekend, I didn't get.
Which was?
It was... who threw it in on 6 in round 2 where Nate struggled.
Someone on your card?
Someone on the card. And I was, they were so far, Paul Krantz? No, it wasn't Paul Krantz. Colton Montgomery. Somebody threw it in on 6. Let me double check. And I was like so upset that they did, because it was, was it? Sorry, no, was it? Must have been Colton. No, okay, so it wasn't round 2. It must have been our final round. And we'd had struggles on 6, and everything else was going on, and I didn't necessarily feel. Oh, it was Drew Gibson. Drew Gibson threw in on 6 from 252 feet.
6.
Yeah, he was way back. Hit like an early tree, way back. 252 sounds like too much.
Yeah.
I'm going to say maybe closer to 200, but whatever, doesn't matter. And I was a little out of position. I in no world was I going to film it anyway. I wouldn't have filmed that shot, because the chances of them then being a great shot, apparently, and I didn't even see it. Yeah. He threw, everybody erupted, and I was like in the middle.
That's the sand hole.
Yes. Yeah, and he skipped it off of the ledge.
How are you 200 feet away?
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell, Gibson?
Yeah. So, like, the single greatest shot of the weekend, I
Sure.
actually didn't film, so I thought that was actually kind of funny. So,
That is.
it was awesome. I love and thank Nate so much for the opportunity. I think, he sent me a very sweet, kind message on Sunday, and thanked me for being out there. We spent a lot of time together in the booth and outside of the booth, and we're friends off of the course outside of just disc golf, and it was an incredible experience, and man, just to be out there on Sunday in a caddying role would have felt great, and I know he wanted, of course, but
it wasn't obviously out of reach. I'm sure he'd have liked to shoot a few strokes better each round, but it was really just the final round where I felt like I was.
Yeah,
looking at that, I was disappointed at his score, because had he shot even or even like +1 maybe, I'm like, he would have made the cut, but it was the +8 obviously, and
after we got to 9 or 10, then it was a whole lot of this isn't happening, right at that point. So that I don't want to say he didn't give up, but a little bit of a reality sets in, and it's like. Yeah. Man, if I don't birdie out, well, when things when you're not exactly firing on all cylinders, the idea of birdieing out, with 7 holes to go, also is not.
Might as well given you the disc and said good luck, Miller.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
So he would have. Okay. See, and to be fair, cut line was 2 under.
He was at even. Okay, never mind.
And he.
I think he ended up at 8 over.
Yeah, he was at 1 over coming in. He was at 1 over coming into.
Was he? Okay.
It was 1 or 2 over coming into. Nate, sorry. He was. Yeah, he was 1 over.
Okay.
He was 1 over, so he would have needed to shoot a 3 under.
Okay.
Which he absolutely could have done.
He did first round. He shot it.
He shot a 1 under.
1 under.
A 1 under with a triple bogey on a par 3.
Yeah.
So he certainly had that capability, but it's just you got to get some birdies in those first few holes.
Yep.
You got to close out strong, and you got to maintain in the middle.
Do you think we'll see him play it again?
I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily think that's a certain thing.
No, I know. That's why it wouldn't. The reason he played this year specifically was because with Avery and Sharon getting into the Hall of Fame, they were going to be there anyway. I'm curious to know whether or not he will try again, or if he's just like, cool, I got my fix. I realized kind of where I'm at, what my game is, even with a month's worth of practice. It's not worth it to me to do that.
Correct.
Now maybe someday, 5, 7, 10 years, something like that. He wants to go back, and they're having like a former champion thing, and he'll make that decision to play, just like Barry does.
Yeah,
like Barry. I think Barry shot like 20 over par or something like that this weekend. But Barry's out there playing. I think Barry knows what his capabilities are compared to these younger kids. He's not getting hole 11. He's not getting hole 10. He's not like or eagling. I'll say like those are the ones he knows he's losing strokes all over, but maybe Doss comes back for that. But I think we've maybe seen the last competitive USDGC that he's going to attempt at.
Yeah, that's probably not a far stretch, just because he knows that he has to put in a couple of months worth of effort.
Yeah,
and this would be the only event, or one of the only events that he would actually compete in, and so I don't know that we'll see him at a USDGC potentially again. And I don't know how much competitive golf he ever plans to play, because he very much has that restraint of saying, if I'm not giving it 100%, I don't want to do it.
Sure.
Where some players, even as skilled as they are, may be like, even me at 60% effort or prep, he's still going to be good. I mean, he's still a great player, and he'd go out and win 90% of the Masters tournaments that he enters. He would win handedly, right? But he wants to compete in Open, and playing Masters events isn't something that currently excites him. He's got a 2-year-old boy.
Mhm.
He's got a great brewery along with his wife and a couple of his friends, and it's a family affair and everything else. He has a different focus. And it's so funny because
Mhm.
I'll go as far as saying Valerie Jenkins could pull her bag out of the garage, dust it off, and come out, and I think she could cash at Throw Pink.
I think she could probably cash it.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
have no doubt
Yeah.
that she could cash. She has no interest.
No, I know. Yeah,
She just doesn't. And if she practiced, obviously she could be a contender. But she doesn't. None of that interests her, regardless. Yeah. Even if there was a crystal ball that said, Valerie, you are going to be within 1 or 2 or 5. No, let's just say you're going to be within 1 of the leader going into final round of Throw Pink. We guarantee it. We will set you on the tee of hole 1, 1 back of our leader on championship Sunday morning. Do you want to bring your bag along and we put you in that position? She'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's great for her.
It's just, that's where her and her life are, which it's hard for us to process knowing how good naturally they are, but it's all about that mind state and what they want out of life and what they're doing, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. They've
it
found
was
other passions.
It was absolutely a great time. I'd be remiss without also then saying too, I traveled with Dave from the Dyers Guild, Dave Grinsell. We had such a great time. Well, I did. I don't know if he did. He was stuck with me for the week.
So he was with you. So,
but no, we seriously had such a good time. A couple different roles. Dave captured a lot of footage from the entire DOS card, everyone that was on our card first round. So we had a lot of fun with that. Second round, he captured some of that footage with a nice camera, and then also ventured out. And then he did so more so on days 3 and 4 of kind of venturing around and getting a lot of other stuff. It wasn't like a shot by shot thing. You're going to see some highlights. You're going to see some, cool edits of little pieces, snippets that are also then going to get used. And then that came all as part of every night for 4 consecutive nights. Starting on Wednesday when we arrived, we basically showed up right as they were just about to announce Avery being called up for the Hall of Fame ceremony. Got off the plane, got our rental car, drove as quickly as we could down to Charlotte, pulled into Rock Hill, pulled into the USDGC at 6:22, and sure enough, moments later, they were starting the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which was something I was really excited to hopefully get to see in person. And watched Avery, UC, Schwebe, Dan Doyle, and Sharon Jenkins all get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Right immediately following that, we did a very quick live recap of basically just interviewing Avery and Sharon at that point. And then every single night, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, we had some form of a live recap show as well, where we got to talk. I talked a little bit about the scores, but also one of my favorite parts of the weekend was capturing some interviews that we had in the can, so to speak. And I would capture interviews, not necessarily even with players, but with a lot of other people.
I saw, yeah.
And we would then put those into the nightly recap shows. And, I might talk scores for a few minutes, and then we could cut away to Zach Melton and what I deemed Caddy Chronicles, which I think was a fun segment where we caught up with him all 4 nights after play and talked to him about him and Calvin and what went down. And as I alluded to, talking to Ann Deputy and talked to Ken Climo about this last year in terms of Climo Dis. And just every single day we had anywhere from 1 to 5 interviews. The 2 Hot Geese kind of interviewed each other, which was actually a lot of fun. So it was a little bit of that. First day, talked to Gannon Burr, got PDGA, a kind of official PDGA notes on Friday night and Saturday night because weather was becoming a part of the conversation.
Yeah, for Sunday.
So it was great that Friday night, right after round 2, I checked in with Jamie from the PDGA. We got a little snippet from him to talk about the weekend.
Sure.
And then on Saturday night, after round 3 into Sunday, we talked to Phil Deloney and got the insight from him about what they might be looking at for Sunday. So my favorite part about that was, as you and I do, even on Tuesdays, there's a lot of like rambling and speculating as to what this may or may not happen and what's going to go down. Like I was able to just get it like from the horse's mouth, so to speak, in terms of the PDGA's contingency plans, the planning, and what they were going to do. And then we were able to put those into the show. Talked with Sarah Nicholson, Benjamin Kenny, all sorts of people. Like it was kind of almost everybody but golfers. And then I will say
you did have Simon in live.
I will say on Friday night there was a can I say a Matt Schlabach me party? I don't know. I'm working on the branding for that.
I'm sure he appreciates it.
But no, Matt Schlabach and the crew grilled a ton of meat, as you've seen in a lot of the other videos. And we were actually out at Simon's family, stayed with Avery Jenkins' family, who stayed with Steve Brinster's family, who stayed with Nate Doss's family. They were all in this really large Airbnb, about 25 minutes from the course. And then a dozen other pros and people came out there as well. And so that particular night, on Friday night, we went live from the basement and had a really great studio setup. And then I just kind of kept filtering in players, including Simon, who had a lot of great insight, Doss, Maverick, Danovich, like lots of good people.
I saw all of those.
So anyway,
I will say you had the best live after show.
And the only one, right?
Well, technically, I think Upshot does like a live.
Oh, do they?
It's not a video show. I think they just do like a rapid reacts. And was there no? Maybe there wasn't like an all birdies, no bogeys podcast afterwards. I don't think
somebody. I thought I heard somebody say there was going to be one Sunday night.
Maybe there was Sunday night
right after the event, but they didn't do a nightly one.
So you had the best nightly recap out there, Terry.
Here's what I'm going to say. A, of course, I'm always looking for feedback. And B, thanks to Dave for pressing the buttons. I feel like it went as smooth as it could have for the 2-man operation that we had.
Of course.
Especially after working with DGN for the last decade and what you and I have done and Smashbox and everything. Like, I have 100 ideas, but when there's just 2 of you, like, the reality is you can only get so much accomplished. But I really do love the product that we were able to put out every night. So it didn't get a lot of views, which is a little disappointing, that people weren't necessarily in there for it, but it was still fun, and it was a good proof of concept to be able to pull it off.
I mean, it's one of those things I feel like you do them so infrequently. And so people probably aren't just going to tune in like, oh, Terry Miller had this app. Like, I feel if you had them more regularly,
sure,
that you
might
could
get more traction.
You could build up a better audience to that.
Well, and then that's one interesting take, which is definitely part of it. Another thing is, rewind 5, 6, 8 years ago, you and I could have a nightly show somewhere. It was almost the only other media, period.
We were the media, and then we were the after show media.
There wasn't DGN cutting up 1,000 clips.
Yeah.
There wasn't a DGN app with an easy to view, immediate replay of the show. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a Birdie Productions and an Anthem Disc Golf and another round and all these other people out there making daily content. Like there are 100 more media things to consume today as a round is done or during the round,
and
than we've ever had before.
Were you consistent with their timing?
I was pretty close. Okay. Yeah, 8:30-ish East Coast. But then even that, at one point, I'm like, wait, am I too early? Like,
no, I think that's right.
8:30 on the East Coast. Obviously 7:30. That's 5:30 West Coast. Like, are you watching Disc Golf Recap at 5:30 p.m. on the West Coast?
Maybe.
So it is what it is. But yeah, big shout out to Dave. Now, finally, where I actually really pissed off people.
Last night, apparently, you made people upset again.
So every night.
What did you say?
So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, we went live on site somewhere. I think it was it 4 different places we went live from. ultimately. Sunday, it wasn't practical because we had to rush to our plane. We had to get back. Kid duty come Monday morning for Dave specifically.
Yep.
We had to get back late Sunday night or at some point.
If you're going to tell me someone was upset that you didn't do one Sunday night and you did it Monday instead,
not quite. No.
Okay, I was going to say that's
so really Sunday. Dumb. We immediately then I realized we have to shift because we can't go live and do a show and set everything up and go live. We have to get to the airport, which was a whole nother messy story, but it doesn't matter. So I have this semi-clever idea, since a lot of people like the random interviews I was doing anyway. We'll do 4 or 5 different interviews, and then I had even the wherewithal to do a quick intro and say, "Hey, here it is. It's Sunday night. I caught up with Ann Deputy. Let's cut to that." We'd play that, and then we'd say, "Oh, thanks to Ann. Now let's catch up with the 2 hot geese," and blah blah blah. We had these little transitions to what ended up being a 15-minute taped recap show. Kind of recapping the day, where I also then mentioned, at one point I mentioned, the winners, because whatever. I say, hey, let's put this out. We're not going to get it out Sunday night because we're on a plane. Barely got it done. Dave got it all, did all the work. Monday, I didn't realize that it was sitting there and edited and ready for me to post, but Monday night at 10 o'clock, way past when it should have been, but at 10 p.m., I post the show.
Okay, and someone is like, "This is old news already." Why you?
No. My thumbnail had the winners in it.
Too freaking bad. I should have guessed it. I'm so dumb that I didn't say that, because that is the dumbest thing. It's Monday night. The Jomez stuff was probably already out.
It wasn't. That is.
I honestly don't even care.
I
don't even care.
That is where I can somewhat empathize.
I know this was behind a double paywall, so to speak.
And so it was, if you were exclusively waiting for the free version of Jomez, you didn't get that until today.
I mean, I personally have no sympathy. I can understand.
You also didn't get yelled at.
I'm sure. I can understand why people would be upset. We have a friend, a very close friend, who he calls me on Sundays usually, and his very first thing is like, "Oh, don't tell me who won. I'm going to watch it tomorrow on Jomez." But this and that, we'll usually talk about a little golf, but mostly about sports. And I can respect that. And I understand that it does suck. But I have almost no sympathy if you're out on the internet, if you're out on YouTube. You could have accidentally seen the DGPT highlights. They could have done something. I just don't have much sympathy for that. It's your job to wait. It's your job to stay off social media. That is your job. I'm sorry.
I look at it both ways.
I can kind of sympathize, but not really.
I look at it this way. What are you doing on YouTube if you're not, here's my rebuttal, because I can understand the spoiler culture, and if you're on Facebook or if you're on any of those other platforms and you see it, well, too effing bad. You're right. Then I have no sympathy. I don't care. Now, if you're on YouTube and you saw my thumbnail, what are you doing on YouTube? And don't say, well, I'm waiting for the Jomez one, because then you should be on no other YouTubes. You should literally be waiting till you get a notification from the Jomez channel, and then you click on that link that brings you to the Jomez video. If you're all in on waiting, then you have to be truly dedicated to be all in on waiting. You can't be scrolling through the rest of YouTube and expect every other YouTuber to also not reference it.
No,
that's where I I wrestled with this.
If there was no way to avoid it, I would have more sympathy. But there are, like you said, there are ways to avoid it, and they're not difficult. So I kind of don't have too much sympathy there.
So Darren's bringing, again, this is where I grappled with it. Darren has said the thumbnail comes up in the notification on my phone. So if you're subscribed to me and you're subscribed to Jomez and you're truly just waiting for Jomez to come out, which didn't until today, and you got the notification of my channel releasing something and then the thumbnail's there, I genuinely can understand a little bit of that frustration.
Sure.
I guess I can. I don't know what. I also say this. The thought never crossed my mind about putting it there because it's Monday night at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
This is a major, and I typically work in live disc golf. Of course I didn't do it intentionally to piss anyone off. I didn't.
No.
But it never even crossed my mind that, oh my gosh, you guys are still waiting?
Yeah.
Like,
because the Jomez was a day delayed.
And I get it, but like, you're still waiting? Like, at the same time. I don't want to say how big of a fan are you, but so you don't buy the live. You don't, you basically don't have the pro subscription this weekend, and you're still waiting. How many days? What if that's Wednesday? What if that's Thursday this time? Like, how many days do I have to wait to make sure it doesn't ruin your day?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's...
And if you're that big of a fan, you're not. I don't know. Like,
no, again, it's a live to listen says no spoilers on a thumbnail is my preference.
I get that. I generally do get that. I think I'm running a nightly recap show, and call me in this case slightly naive / selfish. It never even crossed my mind. It just didn't. Like, I'm doing a live, or taped in this case, recap show. Like, and it's funny because I didn't interview Missy and I didn't interview Anthony. I just kind of made reference to them, but in the thumbnail, I have them both hoisting the trophy. Boy, oh boy. So
yeah,
I guess I will apologize. I'll try to be more cognizant, but I'll tell you, it was out of sheer, I don't even call it habit, but like sheer, like really, not even an assumption or a thought.
The event had been over for more than 24 hours.
Yeah, at that point it had
like
been.
That's like,
so it's now if I posted it in that exact same way Sunday night or even Monday morning, like I planned on, but just didn't see the video, then there would have been even more hate. I get that. But yeah, you're right. It was 24 hours later. Now the oddity or the rarity that Jomez is 48 hours later, again, I got to sit. How many more creators do I have to sit around and wait for?
Because think about this. If you're listening to this and you are taking the side of spoiler free, bro, I get it. But what if it costs Terry $100 in views? I doubt you made that much, but still, like just $15, $20, $100, $200, $300. Like the longer he pushes off that video, the less relevant it becomes, the less likely YouTube will put it into the algorithm, so that the recommendations. Like, these are things that, as a creator, you know, he needs to take into account too, and you need to understand that. Yeah, I get it. Like he said, it pops up in his thumbnails, it pops up on the preview on his phone. A lot that does totally suck. I get that, and that's a lesson learned. Like, again, you can turn off notifications from YouTube on your phone.
Yeah, I guess it just, because it's so funny, because generally you ask people like, share, subscribe, turn on the bell.
I know.
And you want people to get that because as soon as you drop something, they see it. And in this case, I dropped something, but yet Jomez wasn't out when they typically are 99.9% of the other times. This is a
unique weekend.
So like none of that dawns on me.
You didn't do it out of purposefulness.
Correct. And I don't know that anyone will care or not with regard to that. But
if you really only pissed off one person, that's not bad.
Well, it wasn't, because Drew says thumbnail ruined my entire week. Thank you. I think there's sarcasm there. But that was his comment. Great work with a thumbnail. Hope I never see this channel again on my feed. Well, that would be easy to block me, I guess, if you want. Are you kidding me with this thumbnail? And then there was about 10 other similar comments that all deleted it once I actually got back and changed the thumbnail last night. I changed it to more of a generic thumbnail, which is fair at that point. Yeah. Again, never even dawned on me. It just didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
I'm not out to piss off anyone on purpose, believe it or not, but this one's a funny one. And like,
how long do we wait?
Yeah, how long do I wait? Because another creator who is a huge creator in Jomez, I get it. Like, I understand they're the best, but how long am I tiptoeing around them and that? Like, I'm at this event losing money on my own dime trying to bring more media, and
yeah,
I release something. And sure enough, it wasn't up. Their names weren't even in the titles or anything like that.
Just their picture.
It was them holding up the trophies. But so yeah,
beautiful trophies, by the way. As almost always. Mason
well, not according to some. I read, of course, more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It just goes to show, like,
you can't please everyone. I think these trophies are really nice every year for the most part. But I thought the MPO trophy was spectacular.
I read hate on it. I read hate on it. How. Again, most people have never been there and ever see 90% of these trophies in person.
Wow, it looks beautiful. I've seen them in person, not these particular ones, but
I loved it.
I thought it was gorgeous. It had all the winners on the inside, like the handle kind of thing, and I thought it was great.
I did as well, but not according to the internets. Wow. I was shocked. I thought, like, oh, we're gonna get to maybe a universal or a consensus. That's not everybody, right? That's most of people like no.
I still think we're at a consensus. There's just a few people that don't. You know, you're not going to get everybody ever. So,
gosh,
whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so thanks for that thumbnail, Dave.
Throw Dave under. Let me send you his email.
All that here. Let me give you Dave's. No, I never thought of it, nor did Dave. So, it is what it is. I don't know if I have much else on that. Awesome weekend. Looking forward to this weekend, and like we've all said, like, this is the finish line, and everyone that shows up is going to have obviously a slightly different interest in how they cross this finish line. If you're in 30th place, I'll say this, outside of what your rating might show for the weekend, go for broke, right? Like,
yeah, no, you definitely.
Everybody that's playing this weekend's winning has won money.
It's
a guaranteed paycheck.
Yep, you can only gain more.
Yeah.
If
the lower you are,
yep,
the more aggressive you could be. That may or may not come into play. As Nate Heinold said earlier, we should have pretty good weather, at least for the first 3 days. I'll be excited to see what kind of gallery and whatnot turns out up there. But and then after that, I'll say the only thing that remains,
the match play,
is match play, and it'll be interesting to see, like, the hype and or emphasis on that, and I'm not even going to project. I have no idea. It's new that it's going to be wrapping up, and so match play technically will still be happening, but that is a much more scaled back overall operation than a typical event. So yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. Kind of a side note, more and more of the Southeast Asia tour is forming, and registrations are opening for various events. Get in on them if that's your thing. I hope to see you guys there at some or all of the events. I know I'm working personally on some of the media plans for that, but Southeast Asia tour, every event has a slightly different, we'll say, registration date, and a lot of them have opened. So if you're going to join us at any point in Southeast Asia, whether that's China, Taiwan, Japan, the Philippines, Thailand, any one of those countries, or all of them, I hope you get out there and get signed up. Edwin says, I'm down here for the event. The weather is perfect. Hope it continues during the week. Well, best of luck to you, Edwin. Stats, awesome. Jason earlier said I had the best conversation about life and music with Dana at the USDGC. No surprise there. Because of some questionable layover contingency planning, we actually, I love this, we shifted. Instead of Dave and I flying from Charlotte to Nashville, and then Nashville to Milwaukee, we were concerned about missing our flight in Nashville and being stranded there for the night because things got all jacked up. We, at the very last minute, switched our flight from Charlotte into Midway on the south side of Chicago. I then rented a car and then drove us to the Milwaukee airport to return the rental car, which is where my car was parked. It was about 2 hours. Drove us there, and as we got to the Milwaukee airport, Dave walked into the airport to the baggage claim as our bags were just coming off of the baggage claim. So had we stayed on the flight, the original flight, we would have made it and everything would have been fine. But instead, we secured ourselves for sure getting back, and it all worked out until Avis overcharged me, and now I'm fighting with them. But that's here nor there. I'm restocked on my disc in a box. Picked up another 5,000 plus boxes today. So if you're in need of more boxes and or 2 or 4 mil bags, reach out to me for that, and I can help you guys out on that end. I think that's about all I got.
Okay, then.
I'm reading. I'll read. Do you have a giveaway you want to do tonight?
Oh, I forgot about that. We'll do 2 next week.
All right, we'll do 2 next week. I'm quickly scrolling through any comments. If you got something else, give it to us real quick, and I'll see if I can answer it. Earl, live to listen to. Thanks for the nightly recaps. Keep smashing, gents. Appreciate that so very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
Wow, that's awesome. We appreciate it. I was going to read. Earl says, I have no sympathy for spoilers, but also try to be mindful of it. DGN totally spoils, so I don't know how they avoid it. Yeah, I mean, a live network is definitely not going to do anything to avoid spoilers. Earl said earlier, the new London course difficulty looks brutal for the Tour Championship this weekend. First 2 rounds, fairways are cleaned up nice, tight gaps, long, small, blind landing zones. Yeah, and I think that was before you caught up and heard the insight from
Nate Heinold.
Nate Heinold. But yeah, it should be very interesting to see how it goes down for sure. Need a little luck. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. So thank you guys for joining. I know a number of you really super fans also tuned in nightly to what we were doing for the live show. Again, if you got feedback or other thoughts or ideas, I would love to hear it. But it was a lot of fun doing those, and I think Dave had a good time with it as well. So I certainly appreciate all his help. If you're interested in anything from a disc dying perspective, make sure you reach out to either the Dyers Guild directly or hit me up, and I could get you in touch with him. But Dave, I know, is also always offering a code. The Disc Golf Guy 10 gets you 10% off all of your orders over at the Disc Dyers Guild. So make sure you check those out. And he's also doing podcasts and roundtable reviews with dyers and everything else. Everything you need to know about disc dyeing and the tools, the resources, the strategies. They've got all of that stuff listed and can help you out over at the Dyers Guild. So a little Google, you'll find them. And I appreciate it. All right, with that, I'm going to cut loose. I got a few steps to get in before it hits midnight yet. Not too many, thankfully.
You always do.
Yeah, only about 1,800 left right now, so we'll go knock that out. Have fun this weekend. Enjoy the action, please, over for what's taking place in Virginia. If you got something for me over the weekend, hit me up, and hopefully I can integrate it or answer any questions or address it on this weekend as I'll be out in Bend for the last time of the year. For Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Thanks for coming along for this silly ride. This has been Smashbox TV Podcast 577's After Show. Let's have a super fun weekend, and we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.